to the Name Redacted podcast, America's most beloved podcast, the most downloaded Red Sox podcast in the world. This is the first episode that we've done without a guest in quite some time, mostly because I feel like the topics are juicy enough to get into with just the boys, with just T-Dog and his brand new set that he's been hyping up all week. It's his fucking bed. Listen.
Come on.
No.
I don't have so much room here.
I understand. As someone who had their set be their bedroom for many years, I get it. But you hyped this up like it was like big changes are coming down the pipeline. T-Dog got his own home studio. You won't believe your eyes when you see what I got for you out there in podcast land. And it's like, ta-da, it's my fucking bed. It's my twin bed with my bed sheets from JCPenney and my fucking Bruins pillow. And yeah.
Listen, first off, we're working with limited space here.
I understand that.
Fuck off. Thirdly, look, it looked like I was in a storage unit the last couple episodes.
Yeah.
Someone sent that to me in a text message privately. You know how much it hurts for someone privately to reach out to you? Not even someone I talk to on a regular basis either.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, man, is someone who knew you or knows you? I need to tell you, this needs to change. So I started this massive project. I had my sister come up to my room and we turned the desk. We just turned it. And now, if you look behind me, you can see some of the cool Red Sox stuff in the background, right? You see where I fuck my bed right there.
Yeah.
It's a nice bed. And listen, this is a brand new bed. And yes, the sheets may be from Marshalls or whatever you said, but they're comfortable. You can wash stains out of them.
Yep.
Depending on whatever gets on your bed sheets, because I like to eat in my bed.
Yeah, we know.
So I'm happy. This is a step forward, and it'll be even better next week because I'll have a new addition to it.
What's that?
I don't want to spoil it, but let's say...
Another surprise. Oh, I can't wait for this.
Save
it. Yeah, save it. Yeah. The people are waiting on this. Have you considered, right next to me right here, I would say this is probably 10 or 12 feet long, and it's a green screen that you pull out of the ground. I'm not saying that you need a green screen, but I don't know that I want to look at your bed, excuse me.
First off, why would you not want to look at my bed? Secondly, it's a queen. It's not a twin, as you said earlier.
Yeah.
And the other part of all of this is, with this setup, I had the green screen before and everyone hated it. No one was into it. They felt like it lacked flavor. Well, now you get to see what T-Dog does when he's not recording. Don't you want to picture what I'm doing when I'm not on here? What's Tyler doing
actually, no,
right now?
I don't. And judging by we were just talking about this before we came on, the comments on YouTube, it's a whole different world. I feel like a lot of people discovered Name Redacted and Baseball is Dead just through YouTube. So they're not familiar with everyone's backstories, and they're like, yeah, man, I want that baseball content, but get to ball talk. Get to the ball talk.
Where are the timestamps?
Yeah, so I mean, we could probably figure out a way to do timestamps. That seems like a reasonable request. But as far as get to the ball talk people, at the time, I mean, it's February 7th now, but these people were screaming, get to the ball talk. It was fucking January. It's January, my dog. And no games have been played. No moves have been made. We couldn't even make shit up. I mean, we still gave them 2.5 hours of content for fucking January with no action going on. Jesus Christ.
It's not even just January. Last year, the off-season episodes, because I don't think we had a guest on every week last off-season like we have this year. No. We were doing an hour and out. Every episode, we've done longer episodes during the off-season than we typically do during the regular season. Yeah. During the regular season, it's all right, 90 minutes. We have shit to do. It's midnight. We gotta go.
It's fucking late. Yeah.
Right now, we're giving you 2 hours minimum, 2.5. We did almost 3 with Coley 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Didn't we do? We did 3 for the Pat Light episode too, right?
I think we were right there, right, Jake?
I think that might have been 3+.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. But I get it. If you just discovered us on YouTube this year, then you're like, where's the ball talk? I came here for ball talk. It's back in the day, the Pete's mom's basement days, we would be talking about the most outlandish shit. Sometimes we would never talk about baseball.
It was 60-40. I'd say it was 60 not baseball, and then 40% you'd really lock in and go hard.
Yeah.
Especially when stuff wasn't going on or the team sucked like it did, the first couple of years for you guys.
2015, they were in last place. Like, we had Kirk Minahan down there. You think we were breaking down the X's and O's of baseball? No. But this episode, there are plenty of baseball. You're going to get your ball talk, ladies and gentlemen. You are going to get your ball talk on this episode because some things happen. A couple things happen that people were talking about. But before we get into the ball talk, I mean, if you're looking for a super offer for Super Bowl 58, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. New customers can bet on the big game and turn $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets. Who do you like in the big game, Tyler?
I'm just going to hate on the Chiefs because I don't want Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady to be a conversation legacy-wise. So give me Brock Purdy. It'll be a great story. I'm rolling with the 49ers.
Okay, Jake, you feel the same way?
Yeah, I'm taking the Niners for legacy reasons.
Yeah. He's not even halfway to Brady, but still, I don't know. He's got time. Like,
if he wins this one, then he's on pace. And that's where you start to get a little nervous, even though what Brady did the second half, I don't think anybody could repeat that. But who knows? Maybe Mahomes starts to be a little less physical on the field and the mind elevates.
Yeah, well, I mean, you also just had like a 10-year period where Brady didn't win a Super Bowl.
That's the other half of it. But if they do pull this one off, this is one of those moments where he can say, man, I didn't have the weapons. Like, he has Travis Kelce, but he doesn't have much beyond that. This is me willing my team to a Super Bowl. That's where you start getting more into that Brady conversation where he didn't have those weapons.
Fair. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Jared, Jared. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 58 with the promo code Jared.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
Okay. Do you want to should we start with Theo? People wanted an emergency press conference. I don't think it was necessarily worthy. Like, I think if they had fired Heim and gave Theo Heim's role, then yeah, that's emergency podcast territory.
Dude, we'd be on a phone call recording it. Yeah. We wouldn't even wait till someone got home. We'd be driving on the phone recording it.
Yeah, like we would have done that right away. But it's not that role. It's not nothing, but it's not. I didn't think I didn't think it was emergency podcast worthy because it wasn't the Heim/Breslow role. And also, as I tweeted, I wanted to poke around to see what was up. Because I mean, it's just not conventional, I guess. Like, it's not something that, you have like a manager and you have a general manager and you have an owner. Like, his role is very undefined. Like, it's very nuanced, I suppose is the word.
That's because, let's be real, a lot of guys that have worked in a front office, whether it's GM or, president of baseball operations, they could never even be considered for a minority owner kind of situation. That's not even something you can compute. But when you're talking about Theo Epstein, a guy who I think has two pathways for his future after he left the Cubs, it was either to be commissioner of baseball. Rob Manfred just signed an extension through 2029, so that's going to be pushed off for a while, or was to enter ownership. And boom, 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 look around. Baseball is going into expansion now that the Las Vegas situation is taken care of with the A's. The Rays on their spot got their ballpark. Well, now we know what they want to do next. They want more teams. And it wasn't too long ago, a guy who used to be here in Dave Dombrowski was leading that Nashville group. Is that what Theo kind of eyes? And this is his way to say, hey, look, I'm doing ownership things now. I'm learning international soccer, hockey, helping out with the Red Sox. This is kind of how you build the resume for something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, first and foremost, man, this podcast is on top of fucking everything. God damn it. The Name Redacted podcast, you tell me that all these people that are out here breaking news, it's like, we said that shit so long ago that people forget to even bring it up that we were first. Like, there was like fucking 5 months in between us saying it and it happening. People didn't even remember to think back. Oh yeah, they had it first. Yeah, no shit. We've had almost everything first. We had Heim getting fired first. We had Theo coming in first. Turner not getting spoken to by the Red Sox. We had that fucking like 3 months ago. Sale getting traded. We had first. I mean, goddamn, Jake. It's good to have a monopoly on this shit.
Oh, but Teoscar
Hernandez. We had the offer, the Red Sox offer. We had that first. Jesus Christ, we own the offseason. What a feather in the cap for this podcast. Hey, everyone that's watching on YouTube that discovered us in the last 2 to 3 months, just a little heads up. We own this shit. This is if you want news 3, 4, 5 months in advance, you've come to the right podcast. And there's a story coming up later on in the show that's going to further hammer home that point.
Oh?
But the Theo news, am I excited about it regardless of the role? Fuck yeah, dude. I love Theo Epstein. I tweeted the clip of me. I was a junior in high school, I think. I might have been a sophomore. So it might have been 2005, 2006, somewhere around there. And I did for a school project, like I cut up video from like other interviews with Theo and then like made myself the interview. Like this is back when I had to fake interviewing people. Like I could not do this for real. And I remember on Facebook used to ask you what your religious views were, and mine said Theo Epstein. So I have been a Theo Epstein guy since day one. I love the man, even though he traded my favorite baseball player of all time, Nomar Garciaparra. That was tough to get past that one, but winning the World Series in the same year that happened, first one in 86 years, I think we got past it as a tandem. And what I was saying, what I tweeted the day that this happened was, I don't think we can do a podcast right now because I want to know what the fuck the deal is. And before I kind of get into my findings, do you by any chance have the Jen McCaffrey stuff handy in terms of, was it Jen McCaffrey that had the story on like what the details were?
So Jen McCaffrey had the whole part about Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool. Theo Epstein's going to be used as a consultant to kind of figure out who his replacement is. But it was Chris Cotillo and Sean McAdam that had like the heavy story about ownership admitting, basically at this point that they're bringing Theo in partially because the Red Sox haven't been getting the proper attention they deserve.
Yeah, whether that's publicly or not, I'm just glad that it's out there. And what I said before we came on was if they did a documentary about Theo Epstein coming to the Red Sox again and why, and it being that little tidbit about the, ownership, whether it be privately or publicly, they privately are acknowledging, hey, maybe we haven't been paying too much attention to the Red Sox. Maybe we kind of let this thing slip a little bit. Maybe it's not the shiny new toy that it once was. So all of our attention has been diverted to the Penguins and Liverpool and now PGA. That was the story last week. Fucking being part of an investment group that dropped $3 billion to be partnered with the PGA Tour. So when you go back to the beginning of this story, it starts with fucking winter weekend last year, sitting up there with John Henry, me being like, hey, John, do you still care about the Boston Red Sox? And however you want to interpret his reaction, if it was annoyed by the question or scoffing at the notion that ownership isn't paying too much attention to the Red Sox anymore, it took a year later for them to acknowledge it, but the answer was no. We don't still care about the Red Sox as much as we once did, and we can no longer pretend that we do. So here comes Theo Epstein. And I get that, do you have anything that's like actually written from the Cotillo McAdam story about how his stuff is going to be divvied up between like the fucking Penguins and all that shit? Yeah. Can you read that? Because I think I'm not saying that the reporting is bullshit. I'm just saying the idea is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, so Epstein, and this is coming from Chris Cotillo and Sean McAdam's piece, but Epstein, despite taking on a part-time behind-the-scenes advisory role that includes involvement in all of FSG's properties, will be in part tasked with reinstituting processes and lines of communication that made the Red Sox so successful during his tenure as GM from 2003 to 2011. Now, Sean McAdam followed this up on his podcast the next day saying, I'll tell you right now, a majority or where Theo Epstein will spend the most time out of all these teams, and all of them are going to get his attention because he's learning. This is an opportunity for him. The most will go towards the Red Sox, which I think is something positive. And then he continued it with this. While Epstein will have a behind-the-scenes voice with Liverpool, the Penguins, In other ventures, it's clear his experience with the Red Sox will lend itself to him spending a significant amount of time working with the team. And that was followed by the idea that there's people in this ownership circle, in this front office group, that believe Theo Epstein could be the one to kind of push John Henry out of his comfort zone in ways that first-time guys like Chaim Bloom and Craig Breslow have not been able to. Something we've spent hours talking about this offseason.
We did. Well, and then the jokes have already been made, you know, because in typical Name Redacted fashion, something big happens like the second we fucking drop an episode. Like the Theo stuff, did it happen the day that we dropped an episode? It
Following morning, yeah.
Following morning. The following morning was the Theo news. So it's old news now, but we're getting to react to it for the first time here. Yeah, I don't think that like Theo's going to have a ton of input on fucking Liverpool soccer and Pittsburgh Penguins hockey. I just don't think that that's what he was brought in for. I think it all boils down to, hey, well, we have Sam Kennedy and Tom Warner and John Henry and whomever else having their focus be on these other projects and making money and generating revenue from all these, you know, portfolios. Wouldn't you need someone that gives a shit appointed to the Boston Red Sox? And I'm not saying that that's not Sam Kennedy, because I do still think that he cares deeply about the Boston Red Sox, but it is also apparent that he's now involved in all this other shit. Like, I think that he does have his hand in like the PGA stuff and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Like,
he was at the town hall. Like when they did the signing and everything, it was Sam Kennedy, it was John Henry and his wife. Those were the three people you saw kind of representing Fenway Sports Group. So that should tell you. But you throw in who led this, who pushed this entire process along, which goes back to Jared. When you first brought this up, it started in late summer. Sam Kennedy led this process. So I think for Sam Kennedy here, this is also not a great look for him. For you to have been calling fans a liar 2 weeks ago, and then we know privately you're acknowledging like, damn, they're right. Yikes. That is not a good look. It makes me happy to see them acknowledge an issue. And I use the comparison like, it's like someone who has a drug problem. Man, you can't start to fix shit until that person admits there's a problem. Something is wrong. This is progress, because 2 friggin' weeks ago, they were calling us liars, trying to say we don't know what we're talking about. We're delusional. Us, reporters, fans, the people who paid $100 at Winter Weekend for a weekend pass. Now, first step. Hey, something isn't right, and we can at least admit it privately. It'd be nice if they could admit it publicly, but they won't, because they know all the headlines and stuff it will grab. But that's a step forward. And that tells me Sam Kennedy looked at it and said, man, a guy who's my childhood best friend, someone I'm going to have to work with to get him here. And there were other teams who wanted Theo, who were trying to push along in this process. The fact that they kind of got him here tells them I think they were a little bit desperate for that kind of help.
I think the Theo thing was in the works for a while.
Before
because
late summer?
I mean, we mentioned it in mid-September. We talked about it in mid-September. So, and if you go back to the Craig Breslow press conference, I remember bringing that up here on this podcast where right off the top, I think it was before they even hired Breslow. It was the end of the season podcast press conference, because we had the Red Sox linked to Theo Epstein in mid-September. So the season was still going on. They had their end of the year press conference, which they do every year. This was before hiring Craig Breslow. And one of the first questions was about Theo Epstein to Sam Kennedy, who said he's not going to be in that role. Like, no, we don't have him envisioned for that role. But like, he kind of implied maybe not that role, but for something else. That was like the first week of October, end of September, early October. So I think it like this goes back to then. I don't think it was like, hey man, we had a shit off season, we got to bring in Theo. If it came across my dashboard in mid-September and Sam was saying we're not going to hire him for Chaim's job, but like don't rule out another, like having him here in some other capacity. Like I would love to go back and find that audio, because I know I brought that up on this show to be like, and people thought I was like reaching, because of the way that he worded it. Like he was like, no, not that role, but like, maybe something else. Like it was kind of like that. So yeah, I don't think that this was like a panic move where it's like, fuck, the fans are revolting because we didn't sign a pitcher and we got booed again at Winter Weekend. So like, let's go get Theo. Like the plan for Theo goes back to September, at least, as far as I was aware of it. So yeah, I saw that narrative out there, like, oh, panic move, like let's go bring in Theo because the fans are so mad. Like, no, it goes back to at least the end of last season. But
so do you look at it and you say everything that played out here? Do you think it was accelerated by how this offseason has gone potentially? Or was it Theo just kind of taking his time with things? Or do you think even back then in September, Sam Kennedy was like, something isn't right here? Like whether it's talking to John Henry and trying to figure shit out. And he's like, dude, either way you put it, there's no one in that room. He's not Larry Lucchino. He's not going to be the one to put his foot down and make shit happen. Do we need to find that kind of voice to bring in the mix just from a big picture perspective? Because we know he's not going to be managing the 40-man. That's the whole reason Breslow's here. And that's the great part about this with Theo. Breslow has to not feel like pressured or anything by Theo because, dude, this guy hired you. When the Red Sox kind of turned you away and said they were good because they didn't like how the interview went with you when you were looking for a job in a front office, Theo was like, I need you. Like, you are special. You are that kind of talent. Come here. And we know Sam Kennedy was talking with Theo, getting those recommendations like, hey, is this the right guy for us to hire? And damn well Breslow was giving it to him the other way. Like, it makes you wonder in context how this all came together. Was Theo maybe a bigger part in this hiring process in terms of bringing him here, in terms of like, hey, we know we're going to get something worked out down the line. It'd be nice if you had one of your guys here too that, you can serve as that Bill LaJoy, kind of figure like he was to you back when you were young and first time on this job.
Yeah, I think that this is just me thinking out loud, but I think like the whole PGA thing had something to do with the timing of Theo getting announced. Like I feel like it's when you lay it all out for everyone, right? And you say full throttle at the Craig Breslow press conference, which was what? End of October. End of October. We're going to go full throttle this offseason. And then you have winter weekend, Sam Kennedy saying, we're going to reduce payroll after not bringing in a starting pitcher via trade or via free agency. And there's no big free agency signing. All due respect to Lucas Giolito, but it basically is a 1-year deal. Like, that's not a fucking needle mover. And then after all those things that you've said, like, hey, we're going for it, just kidding, we're scaling back payroll. And then it comes out, hey, boom, we're part of an ownership we're part of an ownership group or an investment group that is putting forth $3 billion to just partner with the PGA. It's like, how does that win me a World Series? So then you have Theo Epstein come in. I don't think that it was like malicious or devious or calculated timing, but I do think that it was prolonged because they were so hyper focused on the PGA deal, getting that done. Like, if that's not in play, wouldn't the Theo thing get done sooner if we're going back to mid-September at least that they were discussing it? Like, I think it's kind of like, you go back to the relationship between Sam Kennedy and Theo Epstein and you sit there and say, well, maybe because there is that personal relationship there and there is that trust there, it's kind of like, well, we don't have to really push this across the finish line. Like, we know it's going to get done. Like, me, like, we go way back. Like, don't worry about it. Like, it's going to be, we're all good here. So do I think that Theo would have gotten the role or would have been announced sooner if it weren't for the PGA deal? Probably. Like, that's just my guess. That's not like scoop shop or anything.
Do you look at that and you say, because part of that Cotillo article and McAdam article was, if you're hoping for anything to change this offseason when pitchers and catchers report a week from today, sorry. Like, you're going to hope that change comes, whether it's a trade deadline or after that, in terms of getting those big moves where maybe Theo can just get on the line with Breslow and be like, dude, this is how I used to go about it. This is the only way to make this guy move. And at the end of the day, John Henry's only going to move if he wants. If he's at the point where he's like, I don't give a fuck, then he doesn't give a fuck. But do you look at that and say, well, if you had maybe pursued it a little differently, maybe this offseason looks a lot different?
Maybe. But kind of just going back to a point that we've hammered home a million times, it's that, and Breslow fits into this group now. The Red Sox haven't had someone to convince John Henry to spend his money since Dave Dombrowski. That was the last guy that was able to do it. and maybe what I said, because when I poked around on this, I was talking to people in baseball, had a conversation with someone in particular outside of the organization that, is very in the know. And I was like, I just need Like when I was talking about Sam Kennedy needing to like be Larry 2.0, maybe he's just not that guy, you know, like he's more like family friendly and, you know, he's a good spokesperson for the Red Sox, but maybe he doesn't have that like, God fucking damn it, like let's get this shit done. Like it's almost like he's too nice, kind of like Heim. Like Heim was too nice when we needed Heim to be a bully. But Theo, I think, has that dog in him. Where does he have the ability to be Larry 2.0? Like this motherfucker came up under Larry in 3 different organizations: San Diego, Baltimore, and Boston. So if anyone knows how to be Larry 2.0, it's Theo Epstein, because he saw it almost from the beginning. And that's how, I mean, for better or for worse, because I mean, when Theo left, it was because of Larry, you know, like he left because of Larry. John Henry was the one that had to go get him to come back. People forget that when everyone, I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit here and defend John Henry given the circumstances of what's going on with this franchise right now. But for as much as everyone looks at Theo as the savior and the guy that brought the multiple championships and all that, he fucking left because of Larry. And John Henry was the one that was like, hey, bitch, we need you back. Like, hop in, bitch. We're going back to Boston, and made it happen. So do I think that there's a world where, because how old is John Henry? John Henry,
it's like 74. That sound right?
He is
bang 74.
He's 74. All right. Well, I mean that's younger
old
than
as
I would have
fuck.
guessed. Yeah. Well, I mean I would have guessed that he was in his 80s. To be honest with you,
74 is the new 50.
Yeah, sure. I think that at some point maybe there is a transition period where like John Henry doesn't necessarily sell the team, but there's like a transition to a new ownership group that Theo's a part of. Like, I feel like when you mentioned I mean, people have been talking about Theo for commissioner for a long time, but if Theo is not able to do that until next decade, and he is interested in some form of ownership, and I don't know, maybe that's the play. Maybe Theo's like, all right, John, when you're ready to hand over the keys to the kingdom, then I'll already be in place. People love me here. I can be part of an ownership group, but also like I know a thing or two about putting together a World Series winner, and maybe there's something there where that's the long play. Instead of Theo owning an expansion team, why not own where you grew up, you know, like be part of that group. But yeah, I'm just hoping, and this was one of the conversations that I had with this individual from outside the Red Sox organization, and bringing up the Larry 2.0, this person said, Theo's not going to attach his name to something that's going to fail. So
too competitive.
Yeah, like he's just not, like it's not in his DNA to, because that was my question is this all just in name, or is he going to be able to do something here? And the response was somewhere along the lines of like, he's not going to sign up for something that he knows is going to fail. So like the direction has to change. I don't know that it's going to be a sharp left turn, because if that were the case, then Jordan Montgomery would be here by now, you know, like maybe they're still waiting it out. Cause even just like talking to like a couple of other people in like the last week, they didn't say like, there's no chance, you know? Like, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what would have to happen to get Jordan Montgomery in Boston, but the fact is pitchers and catchers report in a fucking week and he still doesn't have a job. So eventually someone in that position is going to start to squirm. If you're not already impatient, like you're going to start to squirm, and maybe you're going to budge a little bit, and maybe you're going to take a deal that you didn't envision yourself taking. So
you're hoping to JD Martinez him. Like
Yep.
That's what you're kind of dreaming on here. And I think that's where you get scared. I know the Phillies have been floated a ton as a mystery team lately. It's just, are you going to be the ones to step up and meet, you know, a solid price over a team that's desperate? You know, guys are going to blow their elbows out the first week of spring training. Teams trying to push for the World Series. That's where you have your chance. I just wonder if we're going to get kind of the double move. Kenley Jansen, hey, we're flipping you. Get out of here. We're back down to call it around 190 million. And then they go get Montgomery, call it 2022 or, you know, 22 million, 20 million. And they are still, you know, a good portion under that 225 from a year ago, but they can say, hey, we won out at our price. It's a dream. I know I feel like I'm coping with it, but that feels like the one guy that I can't give up on. I can't call it a 0% chance.
Yeah.
Because we know the Red Sox liked him more than any other pitcher. Say what you will. Aaron Nola, that wasn't the guy they kind of were in love with. They looked at just overall, if there was a guy, you know, Aaron Nola and Blake Snell, both of them, they preferred Montgomery. If there's a guy to fall into their lap, it's him.
Yeah. And I think it also lends itself to him wanting to be here, I think, or at least the perception
Living
of that
here.
we've been given. So yeah, and I don't want to get fans' hopes up thinking that I'm hinting that it's going to happen. I still don't think that it happens. Like it's all it's going to take is one other team giving him a half decent offer, and he's going to go there because whatever the Red Sox are fucking offering is probably dog shit.
And do you want to go win? Because you're not doing it here.
No, at least not in the immediate future.
No, you might have a shot at a wild card, but if the Phillies come calling, okay, thank you. I'm going to go try to win a World Series. I'm going to try to be the final piece for them.
Sure. Yeah. But either way, I am excited that Theo Epstein is back in the fold. It's still not really clear to me what the day-to-day is going to look like. Like he's not going to be involved in the day-to-day.
Well, that was the Sam Kennedy thing that everyone lost their mind over during Truck Day.
What did he say?
He said exactly what you said. Theo Epstein's not going to be involved in the day-to-day operations. And people are like, come on, Sam, how could you ruin it? We finally had some good news. It's like, did you people just not read anything that came out after the initial story? Like the initial story told you that this is about ownership for him, but his largest portion of attention will go towards the Red Sox. That's the good news. But at the end of the day, this isn't about him coming and saying, I need to fix the Red Sox. It's about, no, I want to own a baseball team or some other sport team in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
It's a pit stop. That's what Sam Kennedy said. And we all know that. It's just the hope is, Jared, what you're alluding to, that maybe there is a way where he is running a bigger role in FSG or just the Red Sox. That's what you cling to. And that's where you hope Sam Kennedy, who went and got him, is this his long play of being like, man, when these old guys are gone, like I'm still going to be around for a while. You're still going to be around for a while. We're middle-aged. How do we come together to kind of run the Red Sox? And, you know, at the same time, Sam can be like, I know Theo trusts me. I may be fucking up speaking to the public a lot, but that's my boy. And I know if we come together, we can figure something out.
Yeah. That's where I hope it goes, right? Like when John Henry says, fuck, man, I'm old. I'm old as shit. And it's time for me to step away and just live out my days with my billions, that the Red Sox will be in good hands. I at least hope he cares to that degree. I'd like to think that John Henry cares about the future of the Red Sox after him. And if he does, then Theo being the guy after the guy I feel good about that. So
do you think Sam Kennedy leading the process is a sign that John Henry really didn't feel like there was a need for something to change? Like he wasn't the guy being like looking around and damn, like maybe this is bad. It was more like, no, Sam Kennedy, who is the one dealing with the fans and dealing with the media, he's paying the most attention to everything. That's the guy who felt like we got to go get him just to kind of overlook things and look at how we're communicating, how our processes work, because there's clearly a disconnect because we're either not spending the way, you know, our messaging coming across is, nothing adds up for us. This is the way to do that. This is the way to bring someone in who can overlook it and be like, guys, like, you got to go back to what it was in 07, 08, 04. This is how you properly do this.
I mean, when I said after Winter Weekend a year ago, he was virtually unbothered by all the boos. Like I said that. So I think it's kind of just the litmus test for ownership and them having a pulse on things. Like, it's not like they're not aware that fans are pissed. It's more just like, does that really move the needle with them to do something about it? Because walking off the stage, getting booed off the stage, he seemed really unbothered by it. You know, it wasn't like he was rattled. It wasn't like he was like, man, whew, that was tough. It was more just like, all right, where are we going for dinner? You know, like that's what it was. So I think, you know, to some degree, when you're that old and you have that much money and you own that many franchises it's hard to get your dick hard, I guess. It's just like, like how I can't get all worked up about this because
John Henry hasn't had a boner in a decade, dog. He's 74. The boners stop at like 60 max.
Yeah, it's like you've been there, you've done that. They're not your only team anymore. You've had the success, you have the money. Like, I feel like at that point, it's just hard to get hard. It just is, So, and on the opposite end of the spectrum, it's like, yeah, man, like, we won. It's like the 4th World Series title. It's like, is that as cool as the first one for him? Like, for me, it was. For him, I don't know. So like, yeah, put another one in the trophy case and then off to Liverpool we go. And when you suck, it's like, oh, that sucks. Anyways, what are the Penguins up to? Yeah. So that's why the Theo thing is a good thing, because you're bringing in someone to care as much as you used to.
And that's where that article starts. It's admitting that something has gone wrong and they're not getting the proper attention. If Theo Epstein is even just giving you his thoughts and his insight on a somewhat regular basis, you're in a better spot than you were a week ago. I think it's really that simple. To the level of that impact, we're going to see over time. But how much did we talk about Heim not having a senior advisor, someone he could lean on like that?
Yeah.
And now he has the guy who hired him and the best guy ever who could be a mentor for him, who's not going to make him feel threatened, not going to be on his ass in a way that, he can't operate the way he needs to. Apparently, he's thrilled about it. That's what McAdam had to say. And I'll throw this in on Sam Kennedy as well. He admitted to McAdam that he knows the way the Red Sox are running is bad for business. That's a big deal. So at least at the bare minimum, he knows this is not working. That's not saying they think they're operating in a way that's going to make the team worth it one day. But at least publicly, at least once, he has gone, yeah, this model, it's not great for kind of getting people excited about the Red Sox and doing that. But he would keep faking that. Oh, well, watch. When we win, none of this will matter. Now, that tells me he was starting to question which way they were going.
Yeah.
This is maybe just, what do you call those things? The bumpers at the bowling alley?
Mm-hmm.
Here's some bumpers. Craig Breslow, you have some bumpers. Heim was working with none. He was trying to figure it out. Obviously, he had restrictions, right? That's different. But this is someone who can maybe get you where you need to go and give you the advice. So John Henry isn't telling you to fuck off every time you want to pay someone.
I don't think that Theo is going to physically be around a lot either, is what I was told.
He's going to be in Connecticut at his home, right?
Yeah, like he's not going to be bopping around Fenway a ton, which is fine. But it just feels like it, it's like when you have like a babysitter for a while and you're just like, man, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe in my house. Like if someone comes in to kill me, like I don't think that this person is capable or even cares enough to protect me. And then Theo came back and I was like, Daddy's home. It's like now I feel safe again. Like now I feel like there's some authority in the house. Like now I feel like there's some protection, some safety, some familiarity, like that sense of home came back a little bit,
you're not going to have Matt Dermody start a game for you again. And we're all sitting there like, how the fuck did this possibly happen?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no one who was walking around like, don't do this. Like this is going to be very bad for you if you do it.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's where, and like I said, it doesn't matter unless John Henry's willing to move, but damn, you have someone with the most credibility since Dave Dombrowski in there. Mm-hmm. And you can argue Theo has even more credibility than him.
He does.
Yeah, I agree. But both Hall of Fame guys, right? But you have the guy who came, ended the curse, 1-2 here. His voice should carry as much, weight as anybody who's been around in a long time.
Nobody's baseball dick is bigger than Theo's.
Oh, it's massive.
Yeah. No one has a bigger dick than Theo in baseball.
I will say my favorite clip of Theo going around again is the sadly after the Cubs when he's telling Jed he's going to go on a bender. He's like, hey, Jed's in charge of the team. Like that. Give me some of that. I want to feel that kind of like, fuck, man. Like, oh, we're just going to try to win and we're going to have a fucking good time after we do it. But hands on deck. Let's see what happens. It's about winning. And if that's what Sam Kennedy want to talk about being the Boston Red Sox, this is one way to take a step back or a step towards that and kind of give yourself some credibility.
Yeah. But that's one of the things that I was told in like the last week was like, Theo's kind of been in the mix for a few months here. So if Jordan Montgomery just happened to fall into the Red Sox lap, that Theo's going to get all the credit. Be like, oh, look, like Theo's influence is working out already. Like it just could happen, but
think about it like this. Theo's never going to be like, hey, I have an idea. This is go trade for these guys. I don't think that's what you're going to get from Theo. I think you're going to get Craig. Craig has a proposal. He has a guy he's going to pay, someone he likes. Theo, how do I present this? How do I get this deal done? And then Theo will be like, all right, well, this is how I would have gone about it. And maybe then he gives Breslow some thoughts just kind of on the deal itself. But that's what it is. I think if you're hoping he's going to come in and be like, this is how you handle the 40-man. This is how you do that. This is, I'd switch this around like on the roster, put this guy, make him play here. It's going to be none of that. It's going to be Breslow's ideas with those hopefully bumpers from Theo to help him not make as many mistakes as Bloom did.
Jake, how you feeling about Theo coming back?
I'm excited. Like, undoubtedly, he's got one of the best track records in baseball, broke 2 curses. I mean, it's a good thing. I'm going to reserve my judgment to see how much he's actually involved. And I know he's not going to be making like day-to-day decisions. And like, that makes sense to me too, because like if he hired Craig Breslow in Chicago and then he came in and was like, oh, I'm just going to run the show. Like that's pretty disrespectful to Breslow too. So I think he trusts him in like the day-to-day stuff, but hopefully, yeah, he just brings more of a FSG's attention back to the Red Sox.
That would be nice.
You know what the other thing is?
What?
With all the 04 festivities that are coming,
yeah,
Theo's going to be around. Obviously, now with the ownership stake, even though he's a minority owner, that's another thing to kind of be present to make you have Theo on the front of your mind. He's going to be at the ballpark at least a couple times this year for those events.
They better bring back Dan Duquette for that shit, by the way.
He deserves his love as well. Just
He
like
does.
when the Red Sox win in the next couple of years, they'll bring Heim back. No. Okay. I'd like to dream.
You think Heim would come back at this point?
Probably not.
No.
But maybe he'd come just to laugh. Kind of be like, damn, like y'all said I wouldn't spend no money. Y'all said I didn't add anyone at the deadline. Just because I was not willing to put money on the books or whatever it was. Like he can kind of just laugh that those narratives are out the window.
Well, he's staying local
while working for the Cardinals.
Correct. Yeah,
I think he might be running that front office in a year or two.
You think so?
Mozeliak, after next season, his contract's up. That organization hires nobody from the outside. You found a guy in Heim Bloom who excelled in a small market, had his bumps here in a big market, but many people thought he was fired too early. Seems like a guy you kind of want running a mid-market team. Knows the balance.
He does. He does. Anyways, any other thoughts on Theo before we move on?
I don't think so. No.
We'll have more if more comes out. But for right now, that's all we got. We do have
other major story.
What?
The other major story?
Well, yeah. I'm just gonna talk about Blue Moon for a second, if you don't mind.
Oh, much more important.
Yeah. I mean, I love Blue Moon. And even if you love beer, there are some moments that you just want to enjoy without the alcohol. Celebrate those times with Blue Moon's new non-alcoholic Belgian white, Belgian-style wheat brew. It's for when you want to drink your favorite beer without the alcohol. Obviously, they do have alcohol options as well, which I'll probably have both options available for my. I'm gonna have a little big game party this weekend. You're invited.
Excuse me?
What?
For the Super Bowl?
Yeah, you want to come over?
I could come over. Maybe
you wouldn't come over. Yeah,
I got to produce Monday.
It's already a maybe. I
got to produce Monday.
Okay,
I'm in the big boy seat, so I got to get all the audio done that night.
All right, like I don't have a studio here.
Pull up to the party with a laptop.
Yeah, go ahead. I got an
Are you in the condition to do that?
I think I could. I mean, I can just wheel my ass around. Yeah.
I don't want to bump into you, and before we know it, I'm taking you to the ER.
Did I miss a podcast?
You're getting fragile in this older age.
Listen, did I miss a podcast?
No, but hey, we're not through this one. If you just go lights out at some point, what are we going to do here? Me and Jake are going to have to finish up.
Have I ever missed a podcast?
Never. Not yet.
No, not one.
Never. So you're having a Super Bowl party?
No, I just thought of it now. Might as well, right?
As buddies, you just want to hang out and watch the game?
Yeah, just me and you.
Okay. I'd love to get close on the couch. We can get some food catering. I'll save my cheat day for Sunday this week. And yeah, while I'm on
17
this,
soda Saturday.
yeah, fuck you. There was no need for that. 17 soda Saturday, really? After the deep talks we had?
How about 17 non-alcoholic Belgian white Belgian style wheat brew Saturday? How's that?
I bet it's healthier than Coke.
Oh, definitely. I know that it is. Inspired by the beer you already love and available year-round, a Belgian white, Belgian-style wheat brew that tastes like drinking, even if it's not. Crafted with Valencia orange peel and coriander. It tastes balanced and refreshing. Nothing compares to the great taste of Blue Moon non-alcoholic, Belgian white, Belgian-style wheat brew. Blue Moon, made brighter. Get Blue Moon non-alcoholic, Belgian white, Belgian-style wheat brew delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. For delivery options, that is get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon, made brighter, celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Non-alcoholic malt beverage contains less than 0.5% alcohol per volume. You had an issue with me saying that you drink soda?
17 on a Saturday? I don't do that anymore.
What is
I
it
drink
down
Coke
to?
Zero.
Okay, good. Yep, that's a start. Yep.
2. I've been having 2 a day on those days.
2 a day.
2 Coke Zeros. That's it. I try to do 1 with my 2 big meals, not my breakfast pizza.
So you're down to 2 Cokes on Saturday?
Yes.
And then no soda any other day?
None. Look at this.
Water.
Water, baby. I be drinking that shit.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah. I'm sticking to it. I'm trying to act healthy. And this week is the first week where I'm going to knock breakfast completely out of the way.
Huh?
So it's only going to be 2 meals instead of 3.
No. Don't starve yourself. Just make better choices with food. Yes, it is. If you're just like, oh, I'm skipping a meal, you're starving yourself. Don't skip a meal. Just eat something healthier for breakfast.
I don't like to eat healthy things on my cheat day.
It doesn't matter. Like, I'm not saying eat fucking egg whites. Actually, you should eat egg whites.
I have been working with this kind of idea. This kind of recipe, some would say.
Okay.
With a Cheez-It box. And it's different. It's unique. But you know how there's a little plastic baggie in it?
Uh-huh.
So I get, the regular size. I'm not getting the family size Cheez-Its or anything. I'm not a total fat ass.
Where is this
going? I take some buffalo sauce, warm it up a little bit, and then I pour it in the bag. And then they have the little folders on top. So it's kind of made to do this kind of thing. And then I just shake it up. And then it's like buffalo Cheez-Its. Did I cut out?
No, I heard you.
Okay. You don't make anything at home. What's a Jared Carabas recipe you'd eat, that you made when you were a kid?
Fucking regular food, dude? Like what?
Dude, every kid made something weird. Like I made salt bread.
What?
Jake, you've had salt bread.
I mean, you're 25. You're not a kid.
Yeah.
Well, no, but this is in need of an emergency. What am I going to do?
I don't listen. Hey,
potato chips and ketchup.
Let's not lose sight of the point here. Don't skip breakfast. Even if you have like a little even if you should just drink breakfast is what you should do.
Like a protein shake kind of idea.
Yeah, get like a little fucking Carnation instant breakfast. Like drink breakfast. You want to have the energy to produce Zolak and Bertrand on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Number 1 show according to Barrett Sports. Number 1 midday show of all the major markets this year. Third time in 4 years. Not bad.
Not bad. Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's huge. That's huge. Shout out to Beal and Zell.
Tom Morgan.
And Tom Morgan, yeah. Talked to Tom the other day.
Oh, about me?
Fuck no. No.
What'd you guys talk about? He didn't tell me.
We talk. We're pals.
You and Tom?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't talk about me
there, besides Jimmy Stewart.
Wow. Are you kidding? I'm third?
Jimmy's 1, obviously. He's like my best friend in the world. It goes Jimmy,
3.
Tom, and then probably a producer at WEI. I don't know who produces O'Brien.
Dave O'Brien in the morning.
Yep.
Or Dan O'Brien, excuse me.
It's Dan. Yeah, you said Dave. It's Dan.
Talking Red Sox.
Yep.
Skaz at night.
I don't know if we've met.
He's a great guy.
Okay.
told me, what did he call jerking off burping the worm?
Burping the worm.
That's forever been imprinted in my head. It's one of the best lines I've ever heard in my life.
It's incredible. Netflix.
You were hot on this morning. Talking with the director? Are you kidding me?
Listen, it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to be involved in a Netflix production. But I'm totally expecting to have this huge opportunity, once in a lifetime, career defining opportunity. I go to Fenway to shoot the episode for my Netflix special, and then all of a sudden it's just like, that would suck. Shout out to Cody Rhodes, by the way. The We Want Cody movement. It would be a damn shame if he didn't get to main event WrestleMania this year. But that's a separate sport. It's a different topic for another day.
You think you're being set up here?
No.
Like John Henry's gonna come out from a back door and just beat the fuck out of you, or get his goons to beat you up.
Yeah, like I'll just once word travels around that they want me to contribute. It's like, here comes John Henry. I can see it coming.
You been jumped before?
Have I been jumped before? No.
You never been robbed?
No, I mean,
dude, I got robbed walking home from middle school.
You look very robbable, though.
I did, yeah. I was walking home from South Middle School. Shout out, people who know what's good, South Side.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they took my wallet. I had $12.
What else is in there? I mean, obviously you didn't have credit cards.
I didn't have a license or anything. Yeah. I think it was just money. Oh, they took my phone too.
They have a gun?
No, he had a knife.
He had a knife?
Yeah, I was 12. He was a grown man.
Did he show it to you?
Yes. He legit had it on his side.
Was it in a sheath?
What's that?
The knife holder?
No, it was like a foof. Like a, what do you call those?
Like a switchblade?
Yeah, that kind of idea.
Did he switch it out?
Yeah, he legit pulled it out. He said, "Man, give me everything you have." And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah, I ain't playing." I was like, "Seriously?" I was like, "I don't have any money." He's like, "Yeah, give me your phone." I gave him my phone. It was a sidekick. And I passed it all along. That was it.
Damn.
It's okay. Worst things happen.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, I cried running home. I was a wreck. I was kind of traumatized.
I could see you being a little emotional after getting robbed at knife point.
Well, I wanted to call my mom, and then I realized, fuck, I can't call my mom.
Take your phone.
So I ran home.
Yeah. Jake, you ever been robbed before?
No, that's a Tyler thing.
Yeah.
It's not a Tyler thing. It's a Brockton thing. Let's be real.
I mean, I lived in New York City for 3 years. I mean, it's kind of just luck of the draw. Like I've stupidly walked home or to a bar or back to the hotel from the office late at night, after midnight. After midnight, yeah. By myself multiple times. Not until it happens to you, you think oh, this can't happen to me. But in New York City, you kidding me?
This wasn't I got robbed in daylight too. I was looking around a neighbor or someone in that area. For people who don't know, it's Market Street area. You think someone around there was gonna be "Oh no, you poor child, let me help you." I was looking around Can someone do something?
Yeah.
And no, they were just "Damn, bro, rough day." They didn't take my shoes though.
Yeah, there you go.
That was nice.
I can't even imagine how scared my mom was every night knowing that I was just bumbling around the streets of New York City for 3 years.
Did anyone come up to you and kind of play the game, trying to rob you but feeling you out?
No. I mean, I'm a beast. No one would even think of robbing me.
You would honestly, Jared, no offense, I'd rob you. You're due to your stature, I'd rob you. I'm sorry.
What do you mean? Due to my stature, you would rob me?
If you're a bigger guy, 6'2", 6'3", you're what I'm looking for. You're never going to rob, Mr. 6'4" guy over here. Pete Blackburn, I'd rob the fuck out of him. There's a lot of people I'd rob and not think much about it.
I feel.
Are you robbing Coley, or are you like, damn, all right, my bad, man?
I mean, if you have a gun,
all right, that's different.
Yeah.
Still, it could go
it's
sideways.
New York City, like they have guns there.
This is 5'10" and under. I'm looking at here.
Okay, so I guess I am robbable.
Jake, how tall are you?
I'm 5'10", so I guess I fall on the robbable scale.
Your money's in my fucking pocket. I've always wanted to rob someone too. It's like kind of a fantasy after it happens to you.
Wow.
I just want to feel like in control.
Yeah, now you want to. It was like you were the freshman that got bullied. Now you're the senior that needs to bully the freshman.
Yeah, give me that shit.
Yeah,
you know,
I'll let you rob me just so you can get it out of your system.
I'd make a lot more money off you than that guy made off me.
Well, I haven't had cash in God knows how long.
Cards work.
Yeah, take my cards.
Swipe those. Watch what I come away with. You know how much shit I could buy?
With what?
I'd buy a new setup.
What would you buy that would be part of your setup that you don't already have right now?
I don't know. What needs to change?
Everything.
Oh, I know what I would do. I like the soundproofing that Jake has. I'm a big fan of that. Mm-hmm. Besides that, though, I really do like my desk. I think I just build an add-on to the house.
You should just buy a new house.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. Okay. T-bills over there.
T-money.
Mm-hmm. No. Everyone has that nickname. Anyway,
Netflix?
So this morning, it gets announced that Netflix is doing a docu-series on the 2024 Boston Red Sox. I knew about this yesterday.
Fuck you.
I didn't tell you guys. I mean, I was fucked up yesterday.
Fair. I'm sorry. I'll take that back. That's my bad.
Yeah. Yesterday, I was fucking toast. Just on the couch, dying. Not having the best time. But I'm here now to talk about this Netflix docuseries. And, you know, your first reaction to it is obviously like, all right, out of all the years that you could, like, that's what I tweeted. Of all the seasons we could have had a Netflix special, we get one for the season that fans are the most pissed that they've been in decades. We had so many great seasons before this to choose from. This is like doing a documentary on any song in the Beatles catalog and choosing a Ringo song. And that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's even weirder when you kind of look at it and you say, they knew this was coming. Like,
yeah,
you knew you were going to have to, you know, push this to the entire world, and you still said, like, I don't really care to kind of embarrass myself and have all these problems. And maybe they look at it in the sense that, you know, it's going to resemble Hard Knocks. I know in the write-up they were kind of saying, well, it's not going to be as immediate as something like that. It may look more like Quarterback on Netflix. I don't know if you ever watched that, Jared.
Yeah, I've seen the previews, yeah.
So, like, I think something along those lines. But, man, I guess there'll be a lot of battles. Like, are we going to watch Tanner Houck and Garrett Whitlock on the first episode battle it out? Like, oh, Tanner Houck, Garrett Whitlock. And we're watching it in spring 2025, by the way. This isn't like we're going to have something to talk about each week of spring training. We got to wait a year where, hopefully a year from now, we're talking about the Red Sox in a completely different way. But, like, damn, like, I'm not going to really be trying to hear about spring training battles a year from now for the previous season.
Man. I don't know what to expect, to be honest with you, because if it is like behind the scenes of the Boston Red Sox, like most of the interesting players on the team, the English is not their first language. Like Bayo doesn't speak English, as far as I know. Yoshida doesn't speak English. Devers does, but he's not really willing to, I guess, like as much. Who else? Like, I'm talking about like the stars on the team. Like Casas is probably going to be like a big focal point of it. Sale's gone. Like that would have been cool to like follow Sale and like his comeback story, but now that's gone. There's not a lot of star. Like that's why like it's like, all right, let's list the pros and cons. Pros, you're first. There's over 250 million subscribers on Netflix. How many people have, you know, multiple people on their accounts? So 700 million people have access to Netflix. Okay. That's a lot of people. You're able to reach baseball fans far and wide on a global basis. Maybe they don't give a shit about baseball, and now they're gonna care about baseball because they saw this docuseries. And the Red Sox are the first team that they're exposed to. So now that they're Red Sox fans, like, this is great. I get it from a marketing perspective. If you're the Red Sox and you knew that this was coming, why didn't you do anything to make the team better? Like, the whole story,
kink.
The whole story around this team is you finished in last place in 2020, you finished in last place in 2022, again in 2023, and you're worse than you were last year. And not only are you worse than you were last year, all the teams in your division got better, like, except for Tampa, but they're already like substantially better than you anyway. So it's not like they closed the gap that much, but like Toronto got better. The Yankees got better. The Orioles got better. What the fuck did you do? Like, you subtracted 2 of your best veterans. Like, that's it.
That's why, like, actually going to get someone like Jordan Montgomery, like, that could be the start of the show. Like, oh my God, here comes Jordan Montgomery walking through the doors. This is like spring training, but more likely. And they said, you know, the Red Sox aren't going to have the final decision on this, right? When it comes to editing it and putting it together, is it going to be through the lens of, hey, we're telling this story of a franchise in the Boston Red Sox that is in the cellar, is in a dark place, and this is where they're trying to head. But to me, like, I love any baseball content like this that's going to be deep and show us something we haven't seen before, because realistically, baseball is usually either the last to get to this or definitely not at the forefront. So for us to be able to see some of these players, and I think the Red Sox need it. Think about Casas and Bayo and the profiles they did on YouTube this past year. Like, I felt like that was just building towards some of this, right? Like, they know people have no connection to the players right now. We had that whole argument back in September about players you felt something to, that you actually cared about what's going on with them and, you know, their careers. This is, I guess, how you build that. It's just, it feels like the wrong time. I think that's kind of the main point here. And when you start talking characters, you know, Tristan Casas is going to be one of them, right? He's going to be one of the main ones. After him,
I just hope that they go in with like interpreters. Like, if it's going to go in depth in a way that we've never seen before, like, I want to hear from Yoshida, like, his story coming from Japan and getting to the big leagues and kind of being on an island by yourself. Like, it's a huge adjustment. It's a completely different league. It's a completely different style of baseball, and you're on your own basically. And there's a language barrier. Like, I want to know, like, how are you taking that? How have you adjusted to that? Like, how do you miss home? Like, is it something that's affecting you? Like, I want to hear like the human stories of that. Like, I think even just like Yoshida's story, but which, I mean, it's fucking Netflix. Like, they're going to have an incredible budget. So I'm sure that they're going to be able to do that. And someone like Bayo, like, what if he has like a huge breakout year? You know, like, perfect. I want to be along for the ride behind the scenes on that. But like, kind of going around the roster, it's like, what other real stories do I care about, like, personally?
I think one that could be interesting, Vaughn Grissom, but it's risky. And this is the weird thing about this, like, kind of setup. If things go wrong for Vaughn Grissom, like, by the middle of the year, like, he's probably going to see his playing time come down. The outlook's going to change, right? Like, yeah. I think along with that, like, Brennan Bernardino would be someone who would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But if
his story's great.
Amazing. But if he has a bad half of the year, he'll probably be DFA'd. So, like, is it going to be maybe like Hard Knocks where guys get cut? You may be one of the main storylines at the very start, but, you know, we have no idea how any of this is going to play out. But they've made the point that it's not exactly going to be when you watch it like, damn, the Red Sox lost on May 14th to the Orioles and it was a hard night. It's going to be more the grind of 162, what these guys go through off the field as well, and kind of how it all comes together, and what people don't realize is like the baseball player experience.
Yeah. And, you know, to the fact that it is going to be most likely another shit season, it's going to be like a difficult year for Red Sox fans. And fans are pissed off. I saw some people responding to my tweet being like, well, you know, like, but the docuseries isn't going to show how pissed Red Sox fans are, and like the Red Sox would never let that happen. I'm pretty sure
storyline.
I'm pretty sure the Red Sox don't have final say on what.
They don't.
Yeah, so they do not have final say. I didn't know if that was out there. Someone said that. Yeah.
Yep, it was in the McAdam piece today.
Yeah, they don't have final say on what makes the cut and what does not. So if something crazy goes on, If there's like, let's just say hypothetically, there's like some dickhead reliever that's like telling people to get out of the dugout. They're not going to be able to like cut that out. Like if there happens to be like some sort of like shouting match or something like that, like say the person that they tell to get out of the dugout, says something back, or like they kind of just have it out. The Red Sox can't say, don't put that in.
So you're telling me there potentially could be a situation where a certain person in the media and a certain member of the bullpen, could we see a brawl at some point on one of these episodes? Is there going to be a back and forth, a shouting match where maybe me and Jake are pulling this person away while we're at Fenway?
I mean, I don't know how often like some certain media members are going to be around, you know, like it's, yeah, it might just be like what is it, the Bear Claw game? Like imagine if the cameras were there for that.
That's where I wonder how they're going to go about it. And we know right now, like filming wise, they're going to be down there at the start of spring training, at least to kind of get rolling with everyone. They're going to be at every single homestand. So when they're at Fenway Park, which is obviously when you're around, the cameras are going to be following them. And then they'll be at certain series on the road. So is it, you know, a big series in New York they're going to go to? Or is it like the Red Sox are playing above their head in June and they're somewhat in the race? Well, here, we're going to send you there because this is kind of a pivotal point in the season.
So I have been in touch with the director. So I don't know. We'll see.
Greg Whiteley.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what becomes of that connection.
He directed Last Chance U for people who have, you know, want to see kind of what his thing is. And there were people, I haven't watched it in a long time, that were very close to those characters and actually felt a connection. So I don't know. Who would be give me 4 players. Who would be your 4-player pick?
To follow along closely?
Yes.
I mean, Yoshida, Casas, Bayo, Devers.
What happens if you can't have if the, you know, language barrier stops them from going that route?
Casas. I mean, Devers can speak English. It's just he doesn't feel super comfortable in interviews yet, but he can speak it.
For people who are wondering how the players felt, Nick Pivetta was the one leading this. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's someone and they can be like, you know, he's entering free agency a year from now. A guy who had his career revived in the middle of last year. The whole player side and working with the MLBPA to get the deal done, Pivetta was the one leading that.
For the Netflix special?
Yes, with the Red Sox, because he's the main player rep for the team. So when they had to figure out all this stuff with the MLBPA, he played a very heavy role in it.
Interesting.
Which surprises me because I look at Nick Pivetta as kind of a...
Keep out of the clubhouse. Yeah, like we don't want
old timer, right?
Yeah.
And this was in the McAdam piece if people want to go check it out. But yeah, and they had met with the Red Sox, I believe it was last April, and they had taken 10 players in. And apparently Cora was up for it. Breslow was up for it. I know there was a report out on Twitter today saying he wasn't. That's not what's out there by people in the media. Apparently they were both into it, and they looked at it as something along the lines of, you know, 10 years from now, if we don't do something like this, I bet you'll regret it. I bet you'll wish you kind of took this kind of platform. And it was Pivetta leading the way along with Story and Ref Snyder, who, if you think in your head, more of the veteran group of the team, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I guess like if you're going to tell the story of the 2024 Boston Red Sox, then they should have gotten out to the Trevor Story camp there. I feel like a lot of these players' seasons really, in theory, started there. If you're going to tell that story, but I don't know. I don't know how in depth it's going to go. I don't know like what we're going to learn that we don't already know, or yeah, I don't know. But I'm intrigued. But like I said, and I think the director understands, of all years, like we had so many fun, cool seasons here that it would have been amazing to kind of like capture that behind the scenes. Like kind of how like anytime that you interview a player on the podcast that was on a championship team, like you want to know like what happened that we didn't get to see.
2021 would have been so perfect.
Awesome group. great
up
guys,
and downs of
fun
the
season. Yeah, like when they told Callum Scott to fucking kick rocks.
Yeah.
Like they brought Callum Scott in to play the song, and like they were just like, yeah, no, like we're not jinxing it. Fucking get out of here. So
all of that. I don't know. I think
I don't know
wouldn't
how
be
much juice there's going to be to this team, like story wise.
And then a year later, it's like, if this is just a mid team or worse, you're not. Think about how we look at last year. We're like, we'll do anything not to talk about last season.
Yeah.
Like,
you're going to want to
probably going to feel
revisit
that.
the 20. I have a strong feeling I'm not going to want to revisit the 2024 Boston Red Sox in 2025.
That's where the timing doesn't make sense to me. And I do want to make this clear. The Red Sox and, Adam Grossman, who is the Red Sox executive VP and chief marketing officer, he made it clear the Red Sox are making no money off this. This isn't a business deal. No profit. That's not what this is about.
Correct.
This is strictly about platform. But that was the main takeaway, right? Like, people were like, boom, they only did this to make money off of it. No, it seems like they're trying to grow the game, whether John Henry's doing it as a favor to Rob Manfred, who was in these talks as well. Maybe that's it. Who knows?
I think it's purely marketing. It's purely, the timing is certainly unfortunate, but being first to something like this, I think that carries some weight, where if you reach a global audience and they're discovering baseball or MLB for the first time, and the Red Sox are the team that's on that platform, like, sure, we might be a fucking shit show dumpster fire, but you're gonna know who the Red Sox are one way or another after this is all said and done. But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get my Netflix shine so I can get in and out and early retirement. That's what I want.
I thought Jake had the best tweet of anyone today about it.
What do you say,
Jake?
Let me pull up the tweet.
It was a banger. My biggest fear with this is that this is going to be Alex Cora's last year. Mm-hmm. And then next year, we're going to have that salt in the wounds watching this documentary. If he walks, and who knows, right? Like, hopefully a deal gets worked out. Spring training is coming up. I'm not going to rule anything out. But, if he's going to go to free agency because he wants that Craig Counsell deal and it goes the wrong way, can you imagine having to sit through that next spring and be like, damn, we're watching why Alex Cora is great, why he's working with these players, why they're talking him up all the time. And now, whether it's Andrew Bailey, Jason Varitek, make your fucking pick, David Ross, that's what we're kind of living with.
Yeah. I mean, Cora's story is going to be awesome. Like, even like not just like seeing his day to day, but if they kind of dive deep into his life story, that'll be cool. Like, I feel like that would be something that fans would be interested in. And yeah, I don't know. I think people were pissed about it because they just get pissed about everything. But at the end of the day, I think we're all going to fucking watch it. We're all going to sit there and see what's up because we're all curious about the behind the scenes. If it's a dumpster fire, that's going to be entertaining television. Like, we're going to be like, yeah, remember that fucking game where the Red Sox lost 18-3? Nick Pivetta fucking smashed a mirror with a baseball bat. One of the shards of glass ended up cutting Wally's throat open. Like,
Devers slipped on the blood and blew his knee out.
Yeah, it's like, at least we'll have that.
Jake, what's the tweet?
I said, I can't believe someone's going to get impregnated to a Josh Winkowski interview.
Yeah.
What if it winds up being a hit piece?
The director just flips it on Josh Winkowski. Look at this fucking guy.
Or not on Josh, but I mean, Jared basically was like, why the fuck are you doing this of this year of all years? And he was like, great point.
This is just the final nail in the coffin where Jared's going to be part of the Red Sox getting completely torn to the ground.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing about me. I'm here to make the Red Sox look good, but they haven't been giving me a lot to work with recently.
How could you start it in a positive way? How could you start a positive narrative unless your story is going to be like
Tim Wakefield?
Yeah, honoring him. That's
like,
interesting.
If you want, and this is something that I said to them, if you're going to tell the story about the 2024 Boston Red Sox, but you're kind of hoping to hit a global audience that doesn't know about the Red Sox or baseball, then you start with Tim Wakefield, because you get to tell a lot of the history of the team while honoring someone that this is what it's all about. someone that exemplified what it means to be a Boston Red Sox player. And it's a very positive until the ultimate tragic ending, but it's a pretty positive, uplifting story until the untimely death of Tim Wakefield. But that's how you inject some positivity into this if it's going to be a dumpster fire season.
That's one way. I wonder, and maybe you start out that way and by the middle of the year, like, are we going to get cameras of them telling players when they get traded? Like, we saw players get told they were getting cut and they would cry on Hard Knocks. Or are you going to get, Craig Breslow, Tyler O'Neill, come in. Tyler, we appreciate everything you did this year for us. You bounced back in a nice way. We're flipping you to insert team. Is that how deep? Because they said we're going to get executives in the mix here. Like, should we expect John Henry at one point? Maybe it's just episode 1 where he's like, I love the Red Sox. Let's go Red Sox. And like, that's just kind of it. Like, how much are we going to get? Because I want to, if it's not more of that fly on the wall stuff, I feel like people are going to fall out of this super quickly. But you need something to hook you in because their whole goal is they want to sell the next season. Quarterback, like, I know they haven't been able to get, exactly the roster set for this upcoming year, but it was about having this series that continues and builds on year after year. Mm-hmm. They're hoping the Red Sox are just the first one. So if you don't get people hooked now, it's never going to last.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely not going to be any shortage of drama. I would imagine, it's going to be a shitstorm. I think like the odds of it being a shitstorm are much higher than it being a successful season.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I'm trying
fans
to think.
Are pissed. I mean, you have pushed the fans into a corner where their only reaction is boo, and they're right. You've openly admitted we don't care as much as we used to. The roster reflects that. Do ticket sales reflect that? Does viewership ratings start to reflect that? You have a manager who doesn't have a deal beyond this year. Do your players start to shut it down early because they're like, all right, well, I'm playing for this guy, but if this guy's not going to be here, then who am I playing for?
Then you get maybe in September, whatever one, part of the big 3 is up at that point, if any of them. Do you get that as what you kind of like, boom, this is how we try to end on a positive note. Look, Roman Anthony's debuting. We're following him. Look at that. Like, is that what you hold out for? Because if this team just goes under in like May, then like, what are you showing the rest of the year? Like, no offense, nobody's going to give a fuck about what's going on with most of these guys off the field. I'd be interested because I'm so invested in the team, but Billy Joe down the road, he's not going to give a fuck.
No. It's going to be hard. I mean, that's what I'm here. I'm here as an advisor. It's like, hey, how do I make this team look? How do I make making content about this team interesting after July? Like, oh, come on in. I know I've been doing it for a long time.
But you're the start. The fact that they would even include what you tweeted says something. So they're not just running. That tells you it's not going to probably start off on a positive note.
Yeah.
Maybe they try, but you would at least be part of episode 1.
Imagine that's like the fucking opening. Just me.
That would be
shit.
sick though. But that's how you paint the picture. Like, Red Sox fans have never been more upset. This is a historic franchise in the dumpster, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. What the fuck's about to happen?
I mean, you know who really loses in all this is Ringo. Ringo caught a fucking stray on that tweet. Yeah, I just hope I don't hear from Ringo. If Ringo gets
He's
pissed,
alive?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Very alive?
Super alive.
He's like
still performing live.
I'll compare it to the modern day Beatles, or what was close to it, One Direction, right? I think the closest version, no?
Did you just fucking call One Direction the modern day Beatles?
Well, in terms of what people got into, right? As a group, what was the last group that was big?
NSYNC.
NSYNC?
Backstreet Boys, yeah.
One Direction was bigger than them.
Jonas Brothers?
I love the Jonas Brothers. Those are my guys. One Direction, that's more like Martha's Speed. I fuck with the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, the modern day, yeah, okay.
Red Dress. You ever hit that shit?
No. I don't know any of those songs.
You were so old.
It's not that
Jake?
I'm old. I just don't like their music, so I don't know any of their songs.
All right, so you're old and you have bad taste in music. Jake, you
have
bump
bad
Jonas
taste in
Brothers?
Yeah, they were pretty big, but I feel like One Direction was bigger.
Exactly, right? That's who do
Who's in
people
One
consider?
Direction? Is Harry Styles in that?
Yeah, he would be who's the one who did Paul McCartney. He did 4 or 5 seconds with Kanye. He's known as the biggest one of the Beatles, right?
I mean, there's John people, there's George people, there's Paul people, and then there's Ringo. But
I would compare. I think his name's Liam Payne. He would be the comp, the one that people care about the least.
Okay, good to know.
I bet there's people who fuck with One Direction.
No.
Yeah. As a baseball hardo who has, nothing better to do with their life than ingest Red Sox content, yes. Just because, I like learning more about the players on the team. That's why I watch the YouTube videos where Casas gets sushi and Bayo's back home. Those are fun to me. But I know damn well I'm in the very rare, niche market for something like that.
It was a very scandalous tweet. Coming
From?
soon, Jenny Dell quote tweeted and said, "Can you imagine if they filmed this during the 2013 season and then tagged Middlebrooks?"
Hot. Jake, cut that out. I'm serious. Cut that out. I wasn't speaking about her. Cut that. Just cut this all out.
Well,
Jake,
I mean, we would get to see a blossoming young love.
Yeah, that's what I'm into.
You think that there are going to be any love stories in this Netflix special?
Reese McGuire and Brian Bayo.
I mean, Reese McGuire might not even fucking make the team.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
Yeah.
The
lack of star power is kind of what pisses me off the most about the timing. Because I mean, there's been shit teams that have stars where it's like, all right, I don't care if they win or not, but let me see behind the scenes on this guy and that guy. Like, who the fuck do I really want to see behind the scenes on? Like Yoshida, I'm into. Casas, I'm into. I guess I don't know much about Bayo as a guy.
Chris Martin, for example, a guy who's great at baseball, he seems as boring as anyone. No offense to him, right?
Yeah.
Kenley Jansen, if he's probably not even going to be here at that point.
Yeah, that's true. He might get traded, but yeah, Kenley just going home playing guitar.
I think maybe Whitlock coming off the shit he's gone through in his life. Yeah. Maybe it's a story of pursuing, or what's the word? Not pursuing, persevering through hard times. Maybe something like that. I bet Rob Refsnyder is going to get some action. That seems so up their alley.
I love Rob Refsnyder, but if that's one of the main focuses of this docuseries, we're not seeing season 2, my friend.
I need Trevor Story.
Trevor Story would be cool. He's got a great
trying to get his career back on track.
Yep, sneaker collection. Yeah.
So we got Tristan Casas, who's the easiest one of them all. If Casas isn't in it, I'm almost out immediately.
Well, obviously he's going to be in it.
It's too easy.
He's probably going to be the main character.
Exactly. I agree. And he'll be the star. Everyone will be into it because of Tristan Casas.
This show is made for him.
But it's just finding who else after that.
Yeah, I bet that Tristan Casas's Instagram followers triple when this comes out.
Of course, because once they start talking about the nails and everything, people are gonna. While there's the old crowd that gets mad. Netflix is for the young people.
Yeah,
the young people are gonna fuck with it.
Yeah, you're gonna have people watching this that don't watch baseball that are I don't really care about the Red Sox, but I fuck with this dude.
Hell yeah. I bet Giolito will be a sneaky one too.
Yeah, maybe.
Guy here for 1 year, but he's a name, right? More of a name than what else is on the roster. Doesn't matter where he's going after this year. And if he bounces back, it's an incredible story. If he fails, well, guess what? He's probably going to be here next year too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Smile, J-Dog.
Listen, first of all, I'm fucking in pain physically. Second of all, I'm doing all right. But I'm thinking about next year and I just miss being excited about my team. I miss being excited about my team. Like, it's been a long time.
That was the whole Jen McCaffrey article. You saw that, the survey they did, where it was just
Corey made it.
Corey
does our graphics. He was quoted in that article. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice it when I was. Oh, yes. I actually know what you're talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, beyond that, it was just a lot of people who were either disinterested or just really negative. And you saw even the complete change of tune from a year ago. How crazy that flip was, where people were optimistic despite, everything that happened in 2022. People thought they saw where this was going. And then when you went off the tracks this year and did something this ownership had never done, 4 out of 5 years under the luxury tax, 2 consecutive years bringing money down, people are lost.
Yeah. And they should be.
No other way to feel.
I'm just glad that the director of the Netflix special saw the humor in what I said, because before I sent it, I was like, man, play your cards right. You might be able to be a part of this thing. Or if you have a negative spin on it, maybe they say, fuck you, and they don't want anything to do. And I was like, you know what? I got to make this joke. Like, I have to make
I need
this
the likes.
joke. Yeah.
The clout.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. I just, to say it again, I miss being excited about my baseball team. It's pretty much been since like going into game 6 in Houston in 21.
Since you met me.
Yeah. Since before I met you.
That's why I think people have been like tweeting out a lot of the 2021 highlights, and people are like, can you stop obsessing over the 2021 Red Sox? Can you stop overhyping that team? That's what we have. That's the closest thing we had to feeling something. Kevin Plawecki, you saw him last night.
Mm-hmm.
Even Kevin Plawecki's still like, man, like that 2021 year was special.
That's what my second tweet was. A Netflix documentary on the 2021 Boston Red Sox would have landed Kevin Plawecki several Hollywood roles and maybe even a run at the White House. That team was truly before its time. That team was amazing. I mean, all great dudes, all great vibes. I mean, Fenway was so fun to be at that October. I don't think I missed a home game in 21. I was at every playoff game that they played at home that year. Every one.
I'm happy you lived it out to the fullest. And I do think there's something here with the Red Sox where these talks about this show started in the summer of 21, and continued after that at different points. Yeah. I think in the summer of 2021, we remember where we were at. The vibes were fucking incredible. This is before they started seesawing down the stretch.
Yeah.
But how you felt going into like the All-Star break, Matt Barnes, are you fucking kidding me? Just shoving it by guys, turning into a closer and one of the best closers in all of baseball.
Yeah.
Like that's where they were. And I think they were like, man, fuck yeah, let's line this thing up. Like we're proving everyone wrong about Mookie. Y'all said we were going to be in a 5-year rebuild. It's been 2 years. Look, we're one of the better teams in baseball. And then I think as it kind of kept going, obviously they're not in the same state, but they're not embarrassed of where they're at. And that's a big part of the problem here.
Yeah. Like I just, oh man, that trend, like, oh, who got that one fill in the blank clip? Like someone did like, oh, who's got that Barstool clip? And a bunch of people were playing some of my old shit. And some of the replies were like, yeah, man, that's the old Rocket. He's not like that anymore. And I'm like, buddy, do you think that I just had some character, philosophy, maturity change? It's the fucking Red Sox. Like
you're in the Great Depression.
Yeah, like pointing to shit from like 2019 or 2021 or 2018. I was like, we haven't had anything to act like that about. Like when that happens again, you'll get that guy. But right now, like, what am I supposed to be excited about? What am I supposed to like be fired up about? Like the Red Sox not being relevant or good or exciting sucks so much of my soul out of me. Like, I don't feel like I'm me. I haven't felt like I'm me for 2 years, basically since the end of 21. That was the last time that I felt alive, T-Dog.
J-Dog 2019, or let's call it 2018, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would have never been able to envision this would be where the Red Sox were, where you were saying, damn, they're not even going to spend money. You couldn't even fathom that thought back then. If anything, it was like, damn, they're spending too much money and they're not worrying about the farm system and some of these other parts, right? Like there's other parts of the organization that need attention. You never would have pictured it getting here. And that's why it's so shocking. And at the same time, if you act excited right now, man, I tweet out something, not even excitement. I'll just be like, oh, this fits my Cutter Crawford narrative. They're like, fuck you, dude. Stop fucking supporting this fucking team, you fraud. You're such a bobo. I'm like, dog, we bitch about the team every day. At least let me feel a little something about a player I like. Like, people think I'm fucking Tristan Casas. I'm not. He's just the brightest spot on the fucking team, so I cling to it. He's what we have right now. If you can find a brighter spot, tell me.
I'm with them. I'm with the people telling you that you're an asshole.
Fuck you.
Until they do something, I don't really care to be super positive. I don't really care to bash them right now either. I'm reacting to things as they happen. Like when the Casas video came out, I was like, this is cool. Like, I like this.
Well, no, Jared, fraud, too positive. Why are you supporting any content they put out?
Well,
dickhead.
When you're just going like, man, like tweeting like a video from last August, being like, oh yeah, Casas is my life.
That's not.
Yeah, those are your tweets. It's like, all right, yeah, cool. That was last August. Who fucking cares? If there's something new to react to that I like, I'm not gonna like hide that I like it. Clearly, I mean, like that's why I took so much shit for saying I wasn't going to cancel my season tickets. I mean, you would have thought that I said something like cancelable. I said I wasn't going to get rid of my season tickets, and like people fucking attacked me. I was like, I don't care what you people say. Shut the fuck up. I mean, and then people, they calm down and you go back to normal. But yeah, I get what you're saying though. You really can't say anything positive about the Red Sox right now.
I just think it's okay to look at certain things as people who are going to be watching these games and be like, man, this is at least something for you other sick fucks like us that are going to put yourself through this and talk about every game and tweet about every game. And, your night's dedicated to the team. Man, we got to keep going somehow. If it just only becomes negativity, you can hold your takes on ownership and how you feel. But damn, man, at least cling to some of the positives. I'm not saying they're responsible for him or anything like that, but damn, all right, I can get excited for Bayo and I can get excited for Casas. It's in bursts, very limited bursts, but I'm going to feel something. I will allow myself to still feel some kind of joy from them. When Casas hits a bomb a week into the season, you're going to feel something.
I'm going to feel something. Trust me, I'm not sitting here as one of these pissed off Red Sox fans saying like, oh, I'm not going to support this team and I'm not going to watch it. If I go, I'm going to boo. Like, no, I'm just going to take it for what it is. If they lose 90 games, they lose 90 games. Like, I'm going to find.
You'll kick the shit out of them.
Yeah, I'm going to find the things to get excited about that I can. Like, if Bayo has a breakout year, that's going to be great. They lose 90-something games, but Bayo breaks out and Casas hits 40 homers. So be it. Like, that'll be what we talk about, and we'll just go from there. Life goes on. I just wish I had a good baseball team to talk about. That's all.
It feels like those two and the big three are the only thing that's ever going to get ownership to even think they should spend $1. So, at least towards a elite free agent or something like that. And that's even asking a lot, but it seems like they're the only key that will unlock that door right now.
Just call me an idiot for holding out just a glimmer of hope on Montgomery.
You want to hear the good news?
What's that?
You didn't go to truck day.
Yeah, that looked like it was like industry plant day, by the way.
Have you ever been to a truck day?
Never once in my life.
All right, me as well. They said there were 50 to 75 people. Gabrielle Starr had this. She said she spoke to a Red Sox team employee. Do you believe that? Or were these fake people walking down did they count the people just walking down the road and they're like, hey, that dude walking to work counts. That dude with the hot dog cart who's just running a hot dog cart counts. Like, there's no way there was actually 50 to 75 fans.
No. No, probably not. I mean, yeah, I think it was probably just like employees on their fucking lunch break. Like, I mean, I lived across the street. Like, if you go outside and just like walk by Fenway, like there's always just people bopping around. It doesn't matter what the time of the year is or the weather outside. Like, people will be walking in that area. It's probably just people being like, what the fuck is all this? I don't think that 75 people woke up this morning being like, it's here, baby. Fucking truck day. Let's go. We got to get there. We don't want to miss. We don't want to miss the parade. Like, it was probably just people that happened to, like, the number was probably overestimated, and the number of people that intended to be there on purpose was maybe 3.
Wow. 3?
That's just my guess.
Is that a family or 3 individual families?
It's one family, 3 people.
It feels right. I don't know. I was just looking around, like, there were a couple people who posted pictures, and I was like trying to get a good view of it, and it just, everyone looked like they worked for the Red Sox. Like, every single person looked like those security jackets you see. But I'm
sure there was. I mean,
like,
by the way, even when things are good, like, well, I don't get truck day.
I would let the truck hit me.
It's the start of new year, and we load up the truck with bubble gum and baseballs and bats and blah 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 blah, and then we drive down. It's like it's the start. It's it's to get you excited for spring training. It's like, well, I mean, we go through this every goddamn year. Spring training, you get excited when you first see like the new images of like, oh, we just acquired this new pitcher and it's our first time getting to see him throw a baseball in a Red Sox uniform. Like, it's finally happening. Like, you get excited for that first week of players showing up and getting ready during spring training. And then you start to, like, you may tune into the first 2 innings of the first spring training game. And then like 4 weeks go by and you're like, we're still fucking doing this shit. Like,
I love spring training.
Start the season. Holy shit. I like spring training too, but it's way too long. The players will tell you that.
Yeah, I agree. Like, hitters talk about it all the time. They're like, right around that 3-week mark, they feel like they hit their stride, but it's for the pitchers, right? Like, isn't that the idea? They need more time.
I guess.
I don't know. For me, the one thing, and I think this could be true, with the way this season's going to go, the most positive time for Red Sox fans might be the next 6 weeks, 7 weeks, when you have Marcelo Meyer, Kyle Teal, and Roman Anthony appearing here and there in games. And, the stakes aren't high. You get another Tristan Casas walk-off. It's sad, man. But I really think that's a possibility where, like, our high will be, before things go downhill.
I kind of just want to, like, hibernate for the next year.
Can't.
Why?
Who's going to be here talking? I'm going to talk to myself.
I don't care.
We could hibernate together. We could get a place in Alaska, Jake.
Why do we have to go to Alaska?
Because we need to be away. When a bear sleeps, when does he do it?
In the wintertime, but like we don't have to go to Alaska to do that.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know winter happened in June and July now in Massachusetts.
Can't you just like go in a fucking freezer or something?
All right. Awful take. You'll die in a freezer.
You'll die in Alaska.
No, not if you have a nice place, a nice cabin.
So then you're just going to go inside. We can go inside here.
Well, we're going to hibernate inside. We're all going to go into our little rooms, or we could share a room. I'm open to things. Triple bunk bed.
Why
or
does
really
the environment outside the cabin matter? If the cabin is 68 degrees, but it's negative 12 outside, why can't we just hibernate in my house that's 68 degrees and it could be 80 degrees outside? Who cares as long as the temperature inside where we're hibernating is the same?
Rule number 1, our cabin will not have a thermostat. This is old school. This is Alaska. They don't even have electricity in Alaska.
I can't imagine that that's true.
I know. Have you been to Alaska?
Yes. I haven't.
Stop lying.
I haven't. No.
Thank you. Jake, you been to Alaska?
No, I haven't made it out.
I'm speaking from experience. I have a cousin.
What's their name?
Huh?
What's your cousin's name?
Lamar.
Lamar lives in Alaska?
Milliken. Yeah, Lamar Milliken.
Lamar Milliken.
He's been in there his whole life.
He's born there?
Yes.
Okay. How old is he?
63.
63-year-old cousin Lamar?
Yeah, my dad was on the older side. He had me when he was 50.
Okay.
So, it adds up if you kind of do the math.
63-year-old cousin Lamar lives in Alaska, and he told you that there's no electricity there?
In his parts. There are some early rumblings that around the border they've started to discover lights.
Okay.
But as you move...
Isn't that the ocean?
The ocean.
The border of Alaska?
A lot of people think the ocean borders Alaska. It's not really true.
Oh, what is it?
No. Towards the Antarctica portion.
Antarctica.
In Canada, like
Yep.
in that area, they don't. They have no electricity. Did you hear about the orcas?
No, what happened with the orcas?
Oh, Jake, you know about the orcas, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, there was a group, 6 or 7 of them, a herd of orcas, some would say. They got trapped in ice in the Alaska area, and they died. They could not save them because there was so much ice. So they let 6 or 7 orcas die. Lamar, 2 blocks down the street.
Oh my God.
I know. It's crazy.
Did he help? Obviously not.
No, it's frozen. They have no power. There's nothing he can do. He was going over and trying to, motion them, but it's so cold out there.
Right.
Frostbite. Lamar's lost a lot of fingers too.
How many in total?
14.
That's not. How did he do that? How did he lose 14 fingers?
The first 10 just happened, and then he got 4 replaced.
So he lost prosthetic fingers.
Yes. And
how
those
do you
are gone.
How do you get frostbite in a prosthetic finger?
That's how cold it is. It actually can take out metal.
Oh, okay.
You never seen metal rust?
No, I have.
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah,
can we get Lamar on the podcast at some point?
No, he has no power.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I've never even spoken to him. We write through letter.
Okay. So he has no cell phone or nothing.
Nothing. Just letter.
Okay.
But back to our original point here. This is where we could go. We could be a threesome family for,
with
6
Lamar.
months of hibernation. Sure.
Well, I mean, if we're going to go to Alaska, how do we not stay with family?
I don't want to cramp his style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He has no family up there with him. It's just him.
It's just him.
Yes.
Did he ever marry? No.
No.
Okay.
Not he's a lone wolf.
Okay. Thought you were going to say something else.
Like what?
I don't know.
No, he fucks.
He fucks.
Nothing.
Okay.
Just
so he's not celibate.
No.
Okay.
He's busting.
Okay. Okay. 63-year-old Lamar from Alaska. Baseball fan?
No. Doesn't even know what baseball is, probably. Really into the orcas, though.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be if you're living in Alaska.
RIP to the 6 orcas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our hearts go out to those orcas.
You want the manifesto?
Yeah, give me the Milliken manifesto.
All right. So in terms of moves, I guess the one actual trade that happened, the Red Sox acquired Tyler Heineman for cash considerations from the Mets.
Who the fuck is that?
Has played 104 games in the big leagues. 22 of them came this past season between the Pirates and Blue Jays. He actually hit a little bit, which was surprising. It was a 129 OPS plus in 19 games for the Blue Jays, but he's your typical quadruple A catcher. Weird stat about him, but I think it kind of speaks to what they've been doing along with Roberto Perez. He had the quickest average exchange time in baseball last year, 0.63 seconds. So I think you kind of look at him and along with Roberto Perez, another guy most likely slotted for AAA, right? That, you don't have to go down the path of Jorge Alfaro, who pretends to be a catcher, isn't really a catcher, had that awful inside the park home run happen against the Mets because of him. And then you don't have Caleb Hamilton, who legit just can't hit big league pitching at all. Like there's no chance if he's facing a big league pitcher. So, all right, these are guys that are like quadruple A catchers that more have shown they can at least fake it in the big leagues, or someone like Roberto Perez, who, obviously was a solid MLB catcher for some time. I think they're just trying to build that up and get these super defensive guys that can help the pitchers a little bit during spring training and give them a little bit more to work with as Andrew Bailey tries to take effect and create this pipeline.
Yeah.
And they hated the entire pitching infrastructure at AAA last year. Major, major problem for them. So I think this is another step towards that. And obviously they fired the pitching coach down there and Abbott. There's a lot kind of switching up down there. And I think this is, a step in that direction.
I'm just very excited to see where the pitching pipeline goes over the next 5 years. I know it feels pathetic to say. Maybe it's nerdy to say. Maybe it's a combination of the two, but the Bailey Breslow combination, I hope that they're just here long enough in their roles for the pitching pipeline to actually produce things to be excited about. Because right now you're at the ground level.
Yeah, and Kyle Bodie, like getting him in this whole mix too. Like, let's see what that impact actually has, because there's a couple guys I look at. I think Richard Fitz is one of them. He's trying to say he's throwing, working on throwing harder, wants his velocity to tick up. Hey, that's what the Cubs did better than anyone last year. They had the highest four-seam velocity in all the minor leagues. Yordani Monegro, another guy who has good breaking stuff in the lower minors. Let's see what you can do. Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, who's been their highest pitching draftee in quite some time back in 2021. Guy who has pitchability, but the stuff never jumped. Can they get that guy to start throwing velo? I don't know. I think there's a bunch of guys. Hunter Dobbins, right? Hunter Dobbins, a guy who came back last year and actually looked pretty damn good. Held his own at Double-A, before killing it at High A and getting the promotion. It's another name who a lot of people kind of look at and they say, all right, he has like a nice kind of arsenal, probably profiles closer to a reliever, but you have four pitches and they all grade as at least average. Turn something like that into a starting pitcher in the big league level. Wilkerman Gonzalez struck out more guys at a higher percentage than anyone in minor league baseball with 100 innings last year. Turn him into something. And that's all before you say Luis Perales, who probably has the highest ceiling of any arm.
Mm-hmm.
Next up. Old friend alert. The Red Sox like Tommy Pham per John Heyman. Continue to be connected to him. You into it?
I just think it's pathetic that that's news. No, nothing against you. I just, when I saw it like on Twitter, like all like the fucking aggregator accounts being like, the Red Sox like Tommy Pham. It's like, cool, man. Like, I like him too. Just, like,
all right.
It'd be cool if he was here. I like Tommy. He's my boy. Would be more than happy to have him back. But that being news pisses me off.
Pham or Duvall?
I
think people forget how good Tommy Pham was last year. He did bounce back. It was a 111 weighted runs created plus. That was his best mark since 2019.
Yeah.
And dude, all right, this is going to sound nerdy. You look at the Baseball Savant page, it's actually kind of crazy.
I would be happy with either. I mean, I think both are good clubhouse guys. You'd probably take Duvall's defense, but offensively, I don't know.
I give Duvall last year in less time had a higher OPS plus, but it's the highs and lows. Mm-hmm. Would Tommy Pham just be the more consistent bat, but you're not getting the power? But just keeping this in mind, and I know it's getting nerdy, but 79th percentile or better in expected WOBA, expected batting average, expected slug, average exit velo, hard hit percentage, and chase percentage. And he walked about 10% of the time last year. I'm not saying that's, something to fucking go nuts over, but if you're looking for someone closer to Justin Turner, I think he's closer than Adam Duvall. But then you could argue, well, damn, they need some power. And that's where you'd put Duvall over Pham.
I would say that Duvall's defense clears. Mm-hmm. The power potential obviously goes to Duvall, but then you're just kind of looking at games played. Like, who's going to give me more time?
And crazy to think Pham's older than Duvall.
Is
Duvall's
really?
age 35 season coming up. Pham's going to his age 36 season.
Okay.
I think those are the two names.
We'll get back to that to see how much they really like him. Do they like him or just do they like him? I don't know.
Should I give you a name to get even more excited about?
Yeah.
Tony Kemp. We got that from Robert Murray. Yep. Mm-hmm. Got that from Robert Murray. The Blue Jays, Yankees, Pirates, and Reds are also interested. I don't see how anyone's signing him, and it's not a minor league deal. That was when people were kind of tweeting this out. Like, we're talking left field and second base. You look at the Red Sox the Red Sox bench. It's McGuire, it's Pablo Reyes, Rob Refsnyder, and Bob.
Wasn't there a story that Bob was like, how the fuck am I still here?
Yeah. He was on Bradford's podcast and he admitted, he was like, I thought I was going to get flipped. I think he said at the deadline, and he was like, I didn't know. I kind of expected it. And, I kind of just go with the way things go. I don't like to assume or dive into what I'm hearing. But right now, Bob has a spot on the big league roster.
Shout out to Bob. Just got engaged. So I just feel bad for him. I want him to get an opportunity. Trade this boy. Get him an opportunity.
Well, hey, he's going to have an opportunity on this team right now. Hey, don't start walking it back. You said, hey, you just want Bob to get an opportunity.
I want him to get an opportunity in another organization where he can play every day. Like, he's not going to play every day here. He's just in fucking, for a lot. He's in baseball purgatory. He's going to go down to Worcester, sock 38 bombs, and strike out 170 times, have an OPS of like 870, and it's just another wasted year for him. Like, he could be doing that in the big leagues somewhere. Give the guy a fucking shot.
Go become a lefty platoon. I think that's the best option for him. But I think whenever the Red Sox do sign whatever bat they sign here, whoever falls into their lap, that's going to be what kicks him off. Because then you're going to have someone else who needs to be in the lineup daily with a crowded outfield. And we're hearing, John Heyman said yesterday, Kenley still in talk with several teams. That was nothing new. But he also said Jarren Duran has been in trade talks, which I think we heard earlier in the offseason as well.
Yeah.
If you take Duran off the team, unless it's for a controllable starter, I'm going to have a problem. Because he's one of the few things you can really get excited about still.
Yeah. Duran would be cool to follow during that Netflix special.
Agreed. I wonder if the Red Sox would put that on him with some of the stuff he was going through at the end of last year. But
why not?
Who knows?
I mean,
if he's open to it.
It could shed a light on that issue.
I agree. That's a good point. Yeah, so maybe that's another pathway they do things, and I don't know. But those are kind of the rumors surrounding the team. I think for Tony Kemp, right? Like, it was a 76 OPS plus last year. The Red Sox were connected to him at the trade deadline too. It's just, he's lefty as well. I don't think he makes a ton of sense for their roster.
Mm-mm.
Outside of that, that might be it.
Wow.
Oh, Pacoda.
Oh, we're projected to be last again?
79.8 wins. Do you want the odds of winning the AL East, Jared?
Yeah.
Would you like to take a guess? Or did you already see it?
The odds of winning the AL East?
Correct.
1.7%.
1.5. Right on the dot. Chances of a wild card spot.
12.3%.
14.7. Hater. Which you put together, it's a 16.2% chance of making the playoffs. Which feels high.
It does feel high.
That was my thing. I was like, 16%. That's better than I feel. I think it's like 5, maybe.
Well, I mean, those things move quick. Like it could be 3% by like the second week of the season.
Was it last year or the season before where we used to do the odds every episode? Remember? You remember that?
It might have been last year.
I think so. And they were just like dramatically like flipping based on how they played each week.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's where Pacoda has them. And I know people kind of use that as a benchmark for the year. But besides that, not too much going on.
Wow. Jake's takes?
I just hope everyone was blown away by Tyler's new setup.
Yeah. It's
better. Even if you guys won't say it, it's better.
No, it is better. It's better because as awful as it looks, it's cleaner than the last one. Like your last setup was it was in the middle of your bedroom. So what are you doing? It's his last setup was literally in the middle of his bedroom. So you could just see all the shit on the floor. You could see, oh, he's drinking some water. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's much better. That's much better.
You like that?
Yeah. You look happier, healthier, drinking that water. You know, I think going from 17 sodas to just 2 Coke Zeros is, I mean, that's like from going from meth to like a little bit of weed.
I'm bringing it down, and I want to keep knocking it down as like each week passes. I'm trying to, my big thing is I'm not ready to be there yet, but maybe in a week or two, I'm going to kick the cheat day for an entire week. So I'm going to try giving it 2 weeks and see how I feel.
You're doing great. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm not going to say the number because someone told me that was a bad idea to keep putting the number out there. But it's continuing in the right direction. Yeah, like to keep updating people. That's like they were like, that's a lot of pressure.
We can do that we can do that quarterly.
I like that.
Quarterly weigh-ins.
But because we're in the right direction.
Yeah, like if you lose 5 pounds in 1 week, like that could just be water weight, you know? Like something tangible. Like you said, you lost 25 pounds. Like that's tangible.
Yeah. I feel good, though. I feel alive. I just wish the Red Sox were not killing me at the same time.
Do you leave any room for this team to surprise us?
Yeah, I would never say it's impossible. I think that would be ridiculous. We've seen crazy things happen in baseball. Like, go back to a year ago. Who the fuck would have told you the Diamondbacks were going to do what they did? Like, I think that's the dream you kind of cling to, and you wish the Red Sox looked at it that way and said, damn, at least let's pour as much money as we can before hitting the luxury tax. If that's the line they're drawing, which they shouldn't, but if that's what it was, okay, you hope to go down that route. But a young team that kind of, shuts a lot of people up. Corbin Carroll comes and does what he does. And before you know it, Brandon Pfaadt, look at the role he played down the stretch. Sure, it's possible. It's just in the division you play in and in the American League where, looking at wild card teams, right? Like, damn, I like the way the Mariners roster looks right now. The Rangers and the Astros are going to be battling it out over there. The Central is the Central. Who knows? Maybe the Royals surprise and kind of take over that division. But then you turn to the AL East and it's like, all right, well, the Yankees got Juan Soto. They're going to have to be better than they were a year ago. The Orioles, I think they just traded for a pitcher, right? What's his name? Corbin Burns? Oh, yeah. Sounds like someone we talked about on here, which good for them, pushing their chips in, ready to compete. But I think many people would peg them as the favorite in the AL. And we haven't even mentioned the Blue Jays, who, despite disappointing every year, they find a way to sneak into the playoffs and then, let everyone down in the first round. You got to climb all of those, and we haven't even mentioned Tampa Bay. And I think sneaky, the Angels under Ron Washington, I'm not telling you they're going to make the playoffs, but they won't be as much of a dumpster fire. I think Ron Washington's a very good manager.
My hope is that the Red Sox are aware, the players are aware that this could be Cora's last season in Boston, and they rally for that.
It's a good story. I just wonder, and I hate to say it, when you get to the trade deadline and they held it so heavy against Bloom that, he didn't at least sell off parts or, because he couldn't add money. We know that. They seemingly wanted him to sell off, and maybe you have Edward Cabrera and you flip JT, whatever it was, which, I thought Stats put out a very good thread on how people look at that time at the deadline and where the Red Sox were and talking about a lot of revisionist history with that and how people viewed them. But I think I'd be very surprised if they don't flip a lot of pieces at the deadline. Because I think they've already told you this year they don't care about. They're cutting payroll. They're not trying as hard as they can. Unless the Red Sox fucking shock everyone and they're nasty for the first 4 months, why would they change course?
Do you even think that if they do start off hot that they'll buy in? Be like, oh, this is a year that we can go for it? Or it's kind of just like, we caught lightning in a bottle in the first half, but it's not sustainable, so we're still not going to pivot from our plans.
I'd say unless it's like 2021. Where you are not fringe. At that time,
you're in first place.
Yeah, you're making legit noise. You're not a team that looks like, like last year where you're in it, but, it's a couple games either way and the whole picture looks completely different. If it's anything like that, good luck to you. And I just have a hard time seeing them play at the level the 2021 Red Sox did, where you still had so many holdovers from that 2018 team as veterans and anchors. And, they spent up to the luxury tax. I think that would be the bare their ceiling. No way they go over it.
Yeah.
No chance in hell this year.
Yeah.
So that's what you would hope for, that they maybe go get a Kyle Schwarber and something like that. But yeah, I think that's if everything goes right. We're picturing the best scenario for the 2024 Red Sox.
I wanted to address something from the Section 10 Reddit.
Okay.
There's a thread that says, there's got to be a personal reason Jared seems to dislike Mookie Betts.
Oh, I heard you're a little back and forth on baseball stud.
Yeah. No, it's nothing personal. I just don't like it. I know that you guys aren't wrestling fans, but it's the same reason why I kind of don't like Cody Rhodes. You can just kind of
you're faking it.
Smell. Yeah, you can smell that someone's faking it, and you're not really that guy. And that's just the sense that I get about Hollywood Mookie. It's you're not that guy.
I have a comp for you, but I don't think you'll get it.
What?
Do you guys listen to Logic?
I don't know what that is.
Well, a lot of people fucked with. He's a rapper.
Oh,
I don't want to die. You remember that song?
Yeah.
That was his
best
big
projects.
song.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people loved Logic when he was early on coming up, internet, surrounded by FaZe Clan, Call of Duty community, skateboarders, whatever. Well, over time, people started making fun of him and calling him cringy, and now he tries to act hard, and he's like, come on, man, put some respect. It's dog, you're an internet rapper. We fuck with you. We liked who you were before, and you were just like this music head. Then you tried to put on this whole act that you were like about that life. And it's like, all right, like hold it up. I think it's a little bit of that. It's like, bro, we remember who you were. And it's not saying you can't grow, but all right, man. Like you're you 180'd everything about you.
Yeah. And like the thing
it just
about
doesn't
Mookie,
come off genuine.
The thing about Mookie, besides like I don't think that his whole like shtick in LA is genuine. It was just it rubbed me the wrong way leading up to his like return to Fenway when he was like talking on his podcast being like, oh, I just don't want them to boo me. Like, I don't want them to boo me. And it's like, bro, you know you're going to get a standing ovation. Like, why are you playing like this victim right now?
Like people don't sob over that every single day on Red Sox Twitter.
Yeah. And it's like, I was totally on his side where like anytime you have a superstar player that's so good that they could get a top 5, top 10 contract in the history of the sport once they hit free agency, I'm never going to get on them for wanting to go to free agency. Like, go.
No.
Like, get that money. I hope it's from my team, but if it's not, like, go get your money. But when you're saying that the whole time that you're here, like, I'm going to free agency, and then you sign an extension before free agency and it's with a team that you've been on for 3 weeks, like, yeah, like, I'm going to be rubbed the wrong way by that. Like, I get like the pandemic changed things where it's like we don't know when we're ever going to play baseball again, but it's kind of just like, you know, he says one thing but he does another, and I don't like that. Like, just be honest. And like, at least, you know, from my standpoint, I was behind him when he was like, I want to go to free agency. It's like, yeah, of course you do. Like, you're going to get a fuck ton of money if you do that.
You want to do it for the MLBPA. That was the whole thing. You
Set
felt like
market.
you had to do it.
Yeah, whatever. But then he didn't go to free agency. He just immediately signed an extension with another team. It's like, okay.
Things change. COVID happened.
Yeah. And then I just felt like when he got paid that money, and then in the weeks leading up to him coming back to Fenway, and like he did the foul territory being like, oh no, I would have signed with Boston. Like, no, you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't have. Like, you don't have to say that. Like, the only reason why he said that is because he was afraid of getting booed when he came back. That's the only reason why he said that. You were always going to get a standing ovation. No one was going to boo you. You don't have to like walk back how you were wanting to go to free agency the whole time. Like, I get it. I supported you.
And I don't blame him.
Until he started like walking stuff back and like being super insecure about coming back to Boston, and then just like how his entire demeanor and personality and vibe changed the second he got to LA. I'm just like, obviously I'd love to have him on my baseball team, but I'm just talking like, you know, in terms of like the vibe that he gives off from people that were around him before. It's like,
And I don't want to make it sound like people can't grow, you can't change, because we all do. It's just, I think we've always noticed with Mookie, he cares a lot about what people say about him and what, you know, how people feel about him, how they view him. And that's why, you know, the Jim Rice thing, remember? It's like, I talked to Mookie, or what was it with Jim Rice? He's like, yeah, you know, I told Jim Rice I always wanted to be here. Like, that was it. It's like, well, all right, we get it, Mookie. You don't have to win anyone over here. Stop trying to win people over. This place loves you. We all supported you. We still back you in that way, where we understood why you had to go about it that way. Just don't act like things didn't change when the trade happened and, you know, COVID happened and all that. That's it. Yeah. Don't act like it was like, oh man, like I was ready to sign that deal. You weren't. You go back and you read the reports all leading up to that. It's easy to say it now, sure, because it just makes it easy to be that guy. Easy to be like, oh, look at me. Like, you know, I'm the good guy. Yeah. No one ever looked at you as the bad guy. Stop worrying about being the good guy, Mookie, because no one thinks you're the bad guy.
Yeah. That's so like, yeah, it's not personal, but like that's the comparison to Cody Rhodes is like, I can tell Cody Rhodes genuinely cares what everyone thinks about him and wants everyone to like him. It's like, bro, just go do your thing. And if you're good at what you do, people will love you for that. You don't have to like shake every hand and kiss every baby. And it's like, it's not a political race, you know, like you're trying to get everyone on your side. It's like, just do your thing. And if people like you, great. If they don't, they don't. Like fucking Barry Bonds. Boo me. I don't care. Boo me. I'm the GOAT. I don't give a shit if you like me or not. Like, that's what I respect. And yeah, so it's nothing personal. He did stiff me on the red carpet. I'm leaving the door open for maybe he didn't hear me, but yep, walk right. I was like, Mookie, walk right by me.
I don't know. I think there was just
it's
always...
nothing personal. I still obviously love Mookie Betts, the baseball player. It's nothing like I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I prefer people who are like transparent and just be you. Just be you. And I feel like sometimes he's not that.
I think he's trying to live up to a version or an image that
the league wants him
he
to
was
be.
Here. Huh?
That too, but I feel like it's also who the league wants him to be. Like it's like, oh, you're in LA, you have to be a star. You're Mookie Betts. You're one of the best players in baseball. You have all this money. Like for the game's sake, we need you to be a star. So now he's like, well, what does a star do? You know, like how does a star dress? How does a star act? You know, how does a star talk? And I feel like that's what he did when he got there because he just wasn't that guy here.
Even Cora was like, he has a pod. Like you know, he jokes at it because everyone who knew Mookie here, you weren't that guy. You were, if anything, no offense to Mookie, amazing ball player. You weren't the alpha in that clubhouse. It was Xander. It was Xander who would go face the media and do those kind of things. And this is like sounding like we hate Mookie. It's not anything like that. It's just like he's changed. I think he cares a lot what people think of him, especially here. And it's just like, dude, you know damn well how people feel about you here. Stop playing up to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one's sitting here like, fuck Mookie Betts. Nobody has ever felt that way.
No, you don't have to be the victim to get the standing ovation. Like
you're going to get it for how great you are.
Yes, you are a great baseball player here. You're a great baseball player there. That's all people care about. As far in Boston, like, are you good at baseball or not? That's it. So nothing personal, Mookie. And to Dallas's point, yeah, I'm sure some of it is bitterness that he's not still here. Like I can admit that.
Who wouldn't? It all plays into that, but I think also knowing where it started and who he was, we remember where it started. Those Dodgers fans don't. They only know Mookie after he arrived.
Yeah, they know Hollywood Mookie. Yep. So, hope that answers everybody's question.
People are gonna be pissed.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like
I don't think it's nothing that I haven't said before. I've definitely kind of like said that where it just feels like he snapped his fingers and changed.
I feel like when people talk about Mookie in a light that makes it seem like he wasn't going to be here, like he wasn't going to sign that deal, they're immediately like, stop backing ownership. And it's not about ownership because at the end of the day, they offered him 10,300. Like he could have done better than that. There's no doubt. It's just at the end of the day, he was going to hit free agency to see the craziest deal he could got. COVID happened and he came down. And he was willing to meet in the middle.
Yep.
But don't tell me you had to go to free agency because that's what you were saying.
Yeah. COVID changed everything. And at the time of the deal, we didn't know COVID. So anyways, all right, we'll be back next week with more Name Redacted. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Thanks for listening on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Any final thoughts, T-Dog?
Oh, thank God. First off, are we going to have a guest next week? Do we know?
Who do you want?
I don't want to say any names because I feel like when I say them, they don't have
they appear on other podcasts first. I
will say this. I think I want someone new.
You want someone that's never been on before?
At least on this version of the show.
Player.
I think player would be refreshing because I think we haven't heard much from that group, but it also takes them having to want to do it as well.
Okay.
I think getting a player on, especially because when we record a week from now, pitchers and catchers report. Like on this day, a week from now when we record, they'll be down at spring training.
Ooh.
So that might complicate that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'd be good to hear from a player and give a different perspective because we've heard people who analyze it, Lou Merloni. How about someone who's actually in that clubhouse?
Okay.
We've only had Giolito.
Yeah.
And I like Giolito, but he wasn't in that clubhouse last year.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. Let's do that.
My second thing.
Mm-hmm.
I did put out another piece this past week. Thank you, Jared, for retweeting it, as you said on the pod.
Told you I'd do that.
But yeah, just a lineup projection. It'll probably make you sad reading it because it made me sad writing it. But I think it's a good piece about where the Red Sox lineup is at, and it talks about the loss of Justin Turner. And there should be more coming this weekend with another one. So stay tuned.
All right. Jake, any final thoughts from you?
feel like we should get.
Ooh,
That's not bad,
it's a
Jake.
great suggestion. It's a great suggestion, Jake. Maybe I can work on that. It's a great suggestion.
Dog. Holy Jake. Great call.
Producer of the show.
You know what? Bleep that out, Jake, because someone's going to fucking steal that idea.
Yeah, he's
Sure.
right.
All right.
Seriously, he's so right.
Like that individual will be on a podcast fucking tomorrow night.
Not one either. It'll be all like multiple.
He'll
We're
do
talking.
the circuit. Yeah,
He'll make the rounds.
yeah, that's a great idea. I'll get cooking on that. Even if we have to record it tomorrow, and then save it for next week.
And I will. I won't even speak on it. I don't want to give anyone any clues because it's been bleeped out.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Buenas noches, amigos.